In the white light, gradually revealed a rapidly rotating pentagram array. Now, but always in the Saboti archipelago. Whether it's a pirate, a commoner, a bounty hunter or a busy marine. All raised their heads, a look of shock was revealed. And the phenomenon of crowds of people disappeared at this time. Then, what is that? This pattern looks so beautiful. Could it be that the new weapon newly developed by Marine is specially used to attack the Rodan pirates? What nonsense are you talking about? This must have been released by a capable user. I seem to feel the breath of holiness. Do you think there will be a goddess coming down from above? Sound of curiosity gradually overwhelmed the panic voice. Now, nearly a kilometer away from Saboti Island, 3 large warships suddenly appeared, and each of them was marked with the huge word, justice. Look majestic. On the warship in the middle, a man with a seagull hat and a long beard. On the palm of his left hand lay a phone bug. He was staring blankly at the sky ahead. Beside him, Garp, Zephyr, Kizaru, and Crane all have the same expressions. Just when he was in a daze, from the phone bug in Sengoku's left hand, an old voice suddenly came out. Dare to kidnap the nobles of the world. It is getting more and more excessive. Sengoku, the contact plan with the Rodan pirates ends here. If you can't catch them all, stay. Even if it's just one of them. Of course, the CPO on the island will cooperate with you to rescue Chonger Rose first. On the phone bug side, it seemed that more than one person was speaking. But there is one thing in common. That's rarely in fashion, without the slightest questioning tone. There was a long silence. Seeing that there was no sound coming out, the other side asked suspiciously. Hey, Sengoku, did you hear that? Is it still Sengoku? What's the matter? You have been silent for so long. Old man saw a beam of light. Sengoku came back from his trance and said, maybe this time, we will find something amazing. On the phone bug side, fell silent strangely, as if he was a little confused about the situation. Sengoku ignored them. He hurriedly shouted to both sides. This must be the fault of the Rodan pirates again, just continue as the previous plan. It was at the moment when the voice just fell. Above Saboti's white on. 4 black and 1 white were lowered, a total of 5 beams of light. This battle is big. Made Sengoku clench his fist. He felt that the mystery of Rodan was about to be slowly revealed. Is this what he is capable of? Zephyr jumped onto the ship to the left. Every light is more dazzling and terrifying than this old man. Kizaru squinted. It turned into a beam of light and appeared on the warship on the right. For a while, the 3 warships headed toward Saboti from different directions. Shopping Street. 5 beams of light descended vertically. It triggered bursts of surprise from the islanders, who wanted to see it but dared not. Soon, after the light fades away, 5 old figures appeared on the spot. Middle. With a bald head and a white robe, he wears clogs and holds a samurai's sword. And the 4 people on both sides. One had a shaggy beard and was on crutches. One has a bald mustache and a Madara fetus on the forehead. The other 2 were blonde and an old man with long beard and long hair. They were all wearing suits and shoes, officially. With a majesty. Figure. Front convex, back warped, exquisite. Appearance. If you don't look at the figure, the face can't be seen as a woman at all. Only 5 leaders will be considered. At this time, hundreds of meters away, a group of Marines who had just set up the fort saw these 5 figures. They are all a little confused. There is only one Marine Vice Admiral. He looked at the blurred 5 people and raised his binoculars in doubt. Just took aim. His hands and lips trembled. 5 elders. Not far from here, on the dense red giant tree, stood 3 men in white suits. One of the men in a suit wearing a sunflower mask also dropped the binoculars in his hand at this moment. There was a storm in my heart. Is it so surprising that you asked 5 old men for help? See clearly? Tell me who it is. The companion next to him urged. You. See for yourself. At this time, in full view, the 5 old men stepped up and walked up to the man in casual clothes. Bow slightly. Knelt down on one knee. Let the extremely climbing momentum support Rodan. Obviously only 5 people, but let him. It's like the stars are holding the moon, as if you have got the whole world. And this prayer made Vice Admiral's teeth chatter. It also made the 3 hiding CPOS almost lose their footing. At the center, the 5 elders kneeling at this moment had extremely solemn expressions. Have you decided to turn off a lamp in history this time? If you have a conclusion, then, please convey that person's name. One of the bald old woman on one knee looked up at Rodan with a serious face. Marine. 5 people. Rodan said it subconsciously, but he didn't realize it. Look at this posture. Do you think he is? I am. Having said that, these 5 are long. It's not just like that, it's just like 5 elders. Appearance. Doesn't look like a woman at all. Appearance only. At this time, the introductions belonging to the 5 people also popped up from the system. 5 elders, mother, 5 people, status, the supreme leader of the world government. Take charge of the pinnacle of world power together. Age. Unknown. Origin. Parallel world 135. Strength. Unknown. Everyone is roughly at the level of Vice Admiral. Rodan squinted slightly, but see the end. He snapped his eyes open again. Etc. Vice Admiral strength? Which Vice Admiral? Is it Garp? Pity. The system did not respond. Rodan felt the marine coming from 3 directions from Saboti. It was a little messy for a while. Shouldn't. He summoned into the parallel world the 5 elders who belong to politicians, right? You can even summon these 5? There was shock in Dover's eyes. Master Rodan, can we challenge the world government? Cough cough. Rodan interrupted them, meeting the 5 elders' eyes. I said, how about destroying Marine, is that okay? The Marine of this world. The corners of the bald old woman's mouth twitched slightly, and she glanced at the old women around her. Seeing them, their expressions did not change. Also silent. She nodded to Rodan. Your order is everything, of course, so are you sure you want to turn off this light? Of course. Bald girl, can you tell me about your specific strength? Rodan asked seriously. This is a temporary word for her, and he is still thinking about the other 4. Speaking of strength, the bald girl is not called here either. Immediately straightened the spine. The other 4 looked proud, as if no one could shake their strength. One person can overwhelm a marshal, and the 5 of us together, let alone a few marshal admirals, even the entire naval headquarters, can immediately make them prostrate in front of you. Talk. With endless self-confidence coming out, he moved forward indomitably. Crocodile and Dover, stand in front of you. It is the clearest feeling. It is as if there are 5 huge stars in front of you, which makes people unable to resist the slightest thought of resistance. Behind Rodan, the fainted Charles Rose faintly woke up. When he opened his eyes, through the legs of the person in front of him, he could see 5 people kneeling down. His mind went blank for a moment. Hey, 5 elders actually kneeled down for me. In his sight. Ignore the pant legs, it is the 5 elders paying homage to themselves. Charles Rose shed 2 puddles of snot and wiped his eyes quickly. Take another look. The bald woman turned her head slightly, followed Rodan's trouser legs, and gave him a hard look back. His gaze was like a blazing candle. All of a sudden, Charles Rose's pupils slackened, and he fainted on the grass again. Very well. I hope you don't disappoint me, Rodan nodded. Momentum, breath, tone are full. Thinking about it is a bit skillful. You only have 30 minutes, right? Then without further ado, come with me. Rodan said. A position is determined. That is, among the 3 warships, the middle one docks. This ship, it is also the strongest one. With Sengoku Garp and Crane, it's not to be underestimated. Handing it over to 5 people is safe, at this time. Far away from the coding in Area 41. Mihoke looked at the coding craftsman who was in full swing beside the flying boat. Mei-mo moved. Suddenly pulled out the white sword day behind him and rode a sword shadow in the same direction as the wolf. Call out. Flying Slash roared out. The prediction is really accurate. Kizaru, who had just condensed the human form from the light particle state, narrowed his eyes. He spread his legs apart, pulled out the Tien Kongyun sword in a hurry, and then rushed forward with a sword. Clang. Platinum light burst out. Kizaru pulled a deep ravine in the grass. Only then did he smooth out the slash in front of him. Yo, you are indeed the hawk girl known as the #1 female swordsman. Kizaru glanced at Fang Zhou and pursed his lips. It's a pity that I didn't fight you last time. Let's make up for it this time. Ugly man. Mihoke moved forward indifferently, without mercy. And the coding craftsmen were all caught by this sudden arrival. See. Marine Admiral. They're going to fight, run. But the coding is not finished yet. When will it still be coded? Are you going to die? Plated halfway through. Several craftsmen all ran away. Mihoke ignored it, she had to concentrate on dealing with the enemy. Being underestimated. Kizaru said. It turned into particles of light and disappeared. Shoki's ripping off the front door. It was already a mess, and there were still streaks of lava in the cracks. Very destructive. But oddly enough the pub wasn't damaged. Squeak, the door opened. A pretty shadow flashed out. It was Bucky. She looked at Sakaski, who was confronting Rayleigh, and shook her head slightly. Not found. Keep the change, please. Sakaski said in a deep voice, the real enemy has come. Again? Bucky sighed. Put your arms around your chest. Passing by Rayleigh with a gust of fragrant wind. HMPH, stubborn Deputy Captain Rayleigh. Rayleigh looked at Bucky grimacing. Heartstrings. It was inexplicably provoked. Bucky's figure gradually disappeared with Sakaski. Only one sentence remained. I'll come to you next time, and I'll definitely defeat you. Not far away. The broken long sword closed automatically. Cannot see the slightest gap. Rayleigh picked up the long sword, looked at Bucky who was going away, and his eyes flickered. It's unimaginable. It's nice to be young. Shaki walked over with his left arm around his waist and a cigarette dangling from his right hand. I'm curious about their real origins. Now. Not far from the bar, there are docks. A warship marked with the words Gorilla and Justice slowly docked. The board has not been released yet. Zephyr in the purple suit jumped off first. And followed by. It was a man in a floral dress, and a young woman with sea blue wavy hair. Teacher. According to the information, there are people from Rodin's group nearby. Zephyr nodded slightly and stepped forward. But before taking 2 steps, then he stopped and his face changed slightly. I saw the corner ahead. A woman in a red cloak was walking in front of her. She wears a marine hat. The word, Justice, is also engraved on the back. Stepping on the printed high-heeled shoes, in every jade step, it looks unique. Nice meeting, Mr. Zephyr. Dover, you go to the coding area and help Mother. Rodan withdrew the heartnet. Darth. I'm not Tashigi. Crocodile glanced at him. Where am I going? It's really hard for you to make arrangements, so just hide. Rodan said. The right hand grabbed her. Crocodile's beautiful eyes moved, the corners of his mouth slightly hooked, and he straightened up. Boom. Rodan touched her shoulder. Activated the abilities of transparency and silence. These 2 abilities. Rodan rarely imposed on the other crew members. Without him, the effect imposed is not good on itself. Silent and transparent. Can't hide the perception of color. White-robed lady, bald-headed lady, blonde lady, bearded lady, fluffy lady. Go meet your marine subordinates. Rodan said. His eyes moved slightly. Stretch your wrist up. God's punishment. Suddenly. A thick thunder fell from the sky and struck the red giant bushes in the distance. 3 scorched figures fell down. The 5th old woman glanced lightly. Not much to say. Quickly followed the transparent Rodan. The 5 of them seemed to be walking, but their speed was extremely fast. Fast as a shave, in the blink of an eye. They came to the nearest pier. And at this moment, carrying the 2 warships with the highest combat power in the headquarters, they are slowly approaching the empty opposite bank. But vaguely, you can still see 5 pretty figures with different standing postures. The general on the warship frowned slightly, feeling a little familiar seeing this. But it didn't matter. There are 2 veterans on board, what are they afraid of? One Piece is here, don't be afraid, until the warship sailed again for a while. After the shape is clear, there was a slight stagnation in the air. And Sengoku, who was originally holding the overall situation in his hands, was stroking his long beard. His eyes opened even more suddenly, almost snapped off his beard. Even gnawing on a donut, Garp stopped his mouth movements. His expression became weird. That is. Puff. The crumbs of the donuts float on the surface of the sea and are quickly eaten by fish. Garp quickly covered his mouth, but eyes. It has narrowed into a crescent shape. Garp. The crane on the side gave him a hard look. Such an old age. Also all day old. I'm sorry, I really couldn't hold back, ha ha ha. Garp hammered his thigh, with tears on his old face. Just talked to them just now, it must be fake. Although I still can't see the face clearly. But the outline of the body and the clothes are still very clear. In particular, the towering chest muscles really make people laugh. You don't need to remind us, we are not stupid. Sengoku snatched the last packet of sweet balls from his arms. Combined with the previous light, several people had some guesses and precautions in their hearts. There may be 5, but what I didn't expect was, how dare you imitate 5 elders? Not to mention bad quality. How is it still a woman? Garp watched with heartache as his beloved was taken away. I'm going to grab it back, but he didn't want to be blocked by the crane. Are you saying they are trying to scare us with these 5 people? What a childish approach. The flying squirrel came up, with a sullen expression on his face. This time, we must arrest them all. The Battle of the City of Water, but the loss of 4 elite vice admirals. Not dead. but it's completely paralyzed. This is for fighters. Far more uncomfortable than sacrificing on the battlefield. At this time, the shore was getting closer and closer as the warship quickly approached the shore. Etc. Sengoku's face changed. Why do they have such similar faces? Roden's crew has prototypes at sea, it's all experience. Abilities are similar. Dressing is also similar. But the appearance can still see the difference. But this. Why? Really, it's exactly the same. It's just the ass is a little bit up. Garp. Several people took a closer look. All were shocked by the extremely high similarity, if it wasn't for the female figure. Change the occasion. They might even mean it. Where did they come to find the 5 people? Maybe it's makeup. No matter how much you think about imitation, there will be flaws, and what is fake will always be fake. The ship has not completely landed. The flying squirrel couldn't help but stand on the bow of the ship, held a knife and shouted forward. You 5 old women, dare to openly blaspheme and pretend to be the supreme leader of the world government, it is simply unforgivable. He was always serious, but now this scene is obviously a provocation. Take one of the old women in white robes as an example. Take a sword and take it well. He even raised his orchid finger? He couldn't stand it. Talking. The flying squirrel stepped up and drew out the long knife. Under the silver light, using the moonwalk technique, she stomped on the air and flew forward. And the 5 people at the port, or sit, or stand, are lean. Originally behaved very leisurely, but when they heard the 3 words, old woman, they frowned slightly. One of them, sitting on the stone, leaning on a cane, the fluffy girl's face sank even more. Presumptuous, shout out. She held the hands of the cane, and slammed it on the grass. Didn't even get up. Pause time. The strong wind was like blasting waves in the water. Center on crutches. It diffused for 100 meters, instantly disturbing the flow of the surrounding air. The flying squirrel, stepping on its left and right feet, came with a knife with a fierce look on its face. Unexpectedly. Suddenly, a manic turbulence hit. Let his stature be unstable. Hey! The flying squirrel waved its left hand, and it was about to fall into the sea. The long knife in the right hand. Then he quickly pointed at the sky, and then slashed down fiercely. Call. A chopping wave swung out. He tried to use the reaction force of the long knife to temporarily stabilize his body. But the plan is drawn out, but Jinlong was submerged in the turbulent current. Not a single wave was stirred. Subsequently, plop, Vice Admiral, the dignified headquarters, fell into the water so dramatically. Although the airflow quickly calmed down, but Fluffy Girl's mood. But far from calming down. Sengoku. Okay, you are really good. How dare you let a mere Vice Admiral come to humiliate you, don't you want to be a marshal? Tone. Even if it's a bit feminine, yet it still feels majestic. Sengoku heard the words. A whole body of cleverness. This feeling. Like the 5 elders in anger. So similar. Garp and others even held their breath. This momentum and this power, you can't fake it. And this strength. Just relying on a crutch? Vice Admiral can be easily taken down. See Amadara. For a while, the Marines were all blown away, especially Sengoku. Sweat dripped from the back. It's not just them. Rodan, who was hiding on the big tree branch by the bank, was also slightly startled. This strength. Far beyond Vice Admiral, right? Really? Does the system refer to Garp level Vice Admiral? Here, Marine is done, Rodan thought. With a snap of the fingers, the 5 people were surrounded by a silent space. 5. Only 25 minutes, let's get rid of them immediately. Who knows? The bald girl shook her head slightly, her teeth moving slightly. We need time to accumulate strength, and we can defeat them with one blow after reaching the peak. Now. It's not the best time yet. What? Rodan was taken aback for a moment, then the corner of his mouth twitched. This reminder. He saw the fluffy girl below, the gradually soaked back. God damn it. Even Rodan couldn't help complaining. With her in one hit. Why don't you say it earlier, so that you can send someone to help delay it for a while? Now. The Marines are all here, so it's definitely not dead. Don't worry, with the 5 of us, these Marines can still be easily held back before the time comes. A ray of light shone from the white-goggled lady's white glasses. Extremely confident. Fine. Rodan sighed inwardly. After narrowing down the silent space to its own range, don't worry about it. It doesn't work. He helped hold it up first. On the warship. Suru leaned closer. Sengoku, they are definitely not 5 elders. I know. Sengoku nodded, but the strength really cannot be faked. Just that moment. I was really stumped, but now that I realize it, I feel a little ridiculous. The warship docks. Sengoku took a step forward and glanced at the people around him. Leave them alone, Garp. You go up with me, after subduing these 5 people. Go find Rodan immediately. Just when Garp nodded. Sengoku, you bastard. The blonde woman leaning on the branch had a bright light in her eyes. Straight to the soul. Pause time. Sengoku's pupils dilated slightly above. As if passively received a special signal, immediately afterwards. A huge star shining with golden brilliance appeared in his mind. The degree of dazzling and fiery among them. Let his mind go blank. Then involuntarily fell on top of Garp, because it happened suddenly. Garp froze for a moment, then subconsciously opened his arms to embrace Sengoku. You bastard. What's the matter? Garp looked at Sengoku in his arms, and suddenly got goosebumps. Get up from the old man. Very good. How did it fall down? Garp. Crane's eyes widened angrily. If you don't help Sengoku, let me. Ha ha ha, Xiaohei, I was just joking. Garp cut her off. It's fine to take advantage of him. How can you let Sengoku take advantage of Crane? Sengoku swallowed, and got up quickly, recovered. He just shot at me. When Garp and he heard this, their expressions changed. They thought it was some old disease of Sengoku. Did not expect. But so far, how do you do it? This. Is it possible to knock Martial Sengoku down just by looking at it from a distance? Still silent. With such terrifying strength, there are not many in the sea. Could it be? Really Lord 5 Elders? Sengoku's exception. The surrounding generals caused a commotion. Sengoku is also confused. The 5 Elders are mysterious. Even if he can freely enter and exit Marie Joy's, he has not seen him make a move until now. Even if it is shot. The strongest is no more than this level, right? This. What exactly is going on, you? Dare to speak wild words to us? Subdue us? What do you think you are? That's what the blonde said. In fact, his face had already turned pale. Her red skin face was well covered by it. I can't feel any abnormality at all. The dignity remains the same, familiar tone. Not only Sengoku, but even Suru frowned. This tone. Perfect. But Garp is not convinced. Don't care what monsters and ghosts she is, come on, old man. Garp smartly took off the marine cape, revealing the blue suit. After galloping across the sea for so many years, what strange things hasn't happened to him? In the end, it was all resolved with a pair of iron fists. Even this time, it has gone beyond the scope of cognition in the past. Immediately afterwards, in the eyes of everyone, where Garp was, there was a whirlwind. People will disappear. In the blink of an eye, it appeared right above the port. The raised right fist, like a powerful super spring, has reached its limit. Boom. The airwave exploded. He carried his body and swung his fist straight down. The air of the moment. As if they were being compressed violently, the sun twitched in bursts. And the blue ocean waves below were crushed to both sides by the fist wind. The power was once terrifying. Rodan 10 on a tree branch. Seeing this, the pupils shrank for a while. If it was him who took the blow. If you greet me positively, there is a high probability that it will not be accepted. 5 old ladies. Can you resist it? At this time. The bald girl sitting in the center moved. You're getting more and more lawless, Garp. It's done. Marshal Sengoku was careless just now, and Vice Admiral Garp is serious, so it shouldn't be a problem, right? That's for sure. Vice Admiral Garp's punch smashed a mountain. That's right. No matter how strong the opponent is, you can't. A school officer. It got stuck halfway through. Sengoku, who wanted to make a move together, also froze in place. I see. The bald girl clapped her palm. He obviously didn't have the slightest amount of energy stored up, but he directly caught Garp's fist like a landslide and a tsunami. The strong wind blew the hair on both sides of the bald girl. Call. A palm and a fist stuck together. Pause time. All the rocks on the pier were lifted into the air. And with the rise of fist strength, grassland. Together with the surface. They were all uncovered layer by layer and swept away in all directions. The airwave circles and circles. Soap bubbles burst. Trees and nearby buildings were damaged. Seems like a category storm has been created. The aftermath of this punch. Terrifying enough to bury everything that stands in front of me. Only these 5 old people. Except for the fluttering sleeves, his figure remained motionless. With a calm look on his face, the bald mother narrowed her eyes. For so many years, it seems that you have almost forgotten the strength of the 5 of us. Say it. A ball of hot air evaporated from her right palm, and then a red light emerged. It seems to be full of strength. On the other hand, Garp's fist, after reaching its peak, slipped down quietly. At this time, under the horrified eyes of everyone, the bald girl pressed slightly, and a blush burst from her palm. The old force just went. The young Garp was sent flying back. On the battleship, Garp, Sengoku's muscles twitched. Suddenly it turned into a huge Buddha statue shining with golden light. Then he opened his hands and caught Garp accurately. That serious expression, it seems to be saying, "This time, let me hug you instead, but there are always surprises." This manic power is beyond imagination. Boom. Garp carried Sengoku's stiff body and went directly into cabin C. It broke through the other end of the warship, and the edge of the railing was barely stable. The dust and smoke dissipated. The Marines came back to their senses. I saw that a deep ravine had already been drawn on the battleship with a total length of more than 100 meters. Fake. Fake? Vice Admiral Garp was blown away by one blow? Even Marshal Sengoku couldn't catch it? Is this really the reinforcements that the Rodan pirates found? What the hell is Rodan? It's just 5 people shooting together. It's unimaginable. All on alert. All on alert. At this time, there was an exclamation. Pulled back the Marine soldiers. The people on this ship are all elites, no matter how frightened they are in their hearts. For the order. Will comply immediately. The Marines raised their spears and quickly formed a circle on the outer railing. Pause time. Hundreds of black guns aimed at the 5 old people on the pier. Gun. They are all the latest styles, loaded with powerful lead bullets, including special seastone bullets. Compared to ordinary bullets, not only can it deal with ability users, but it is also terrifyingly penetrating and destructive. But even so, still can't hide the panic in everyone's heart. From time to time, I couldn't help aiming at Sengoku and Garp behind the ship from the corner of my eye. After all, these 2 people are the backbone. Once something happens, BB, fortunately. The 2 looked embarrassed, and their injuries didn't seem to be much. Just a slightly warm posture ambiguous. Sengoku holds Garp in his arms. The latter drew his wrists together, snuggling tightly against the former's golden and hard belly. Let go of the old man. Sengoku let go of him. That blow. How did you feel? That guy bounced my power back. Garp stood on the scorched and shattered deck, with serious eyes. That feeling can't be wrong. She blocked the blow with Iron Body's skill, and then. Iron Body. Sengoku looked weird. When can Iron Body be used to such an extent? On the pier, the bald girl had already blasted Garp and attracted everyone's attention to the warship. He quickly sat on the stone that Baipao Niang gave up. His body trembled uncontrollably. She pinned her scorched and trembling right hand behind her, and then quickly took out a pink silk handkerchief with her left hand. He hastily wiped his sweaty wrinkled face. It's really not ordinary. When all the Marines above surrounded her, she was at ease, showing off her orchid fingers and crossing her legs. With a look of extreme disgust, gently wiped his right hand. This whole set of actions is down. That's a natural fit. It's like a magic trick, it's like a completely different person before and after. Now. 5 out of 3. The white-robed lady with the long sword between her arms glanced at Changhu Niang. As if to say, be sure to set aside one person to act at the right time. Rodan in cloaked state. After losing the tree branch to stand on, he came to the Walayanang center. Can the 3 of you still make a move? You don't have to worry, relying on the 2 of them is enough. The fluffy girl spoke indifferently, but the corner of Rodan's mouth couldn't help twitching slightly. Each of you takes 1 hit, it's really wilted. The right time hasn't come yet, so there are only 2 people left who can make a move. In fact, just judging from the strength shown. Really strong. If it lasts. Can beat Marine now and run to the Marie Joy's hard bar. Unfortunately. No, it depends on them waiting for the right time, the real power of the explosion. At this time, Rodan felt the movement in the heartnet. Eagle Maiden and Dover steadily suppressed Kizaru and did not let him run around. And Bucky and Sakaski, on the other side, is also in the upper hand. The situation is developing in a good direction. So just hold on here, and everything will be fine. And Rodan did not choose to rush to reinforce the other 2 sides. After all, it leads to imbalance. Annoyed Garp and Sengoku, they shot directly regardless of everything, and the 5th old lady may not have waited for the opportunity. There is danger, so he has to watch over here. At this moment, the sound of the system sounded. Because it is the first time for the host to use the time-limited card, after the mysterious character returns successfully. The next random draw will get 100% 4-star characters. Rodan's face changed. This was a pleasant surprise. However, he also discovered that the summoned character that the system said had successfully returned. That means not being able to die. This. Without mentioning the number of people, Rodan can only do his best. He also counted on Wu Lao Niang. Help solve the immediate trouble. Sengoku rejoined the bow. Get through that blow. While making him feel absurd, he also became more hesitant. But Garp seemed to have made up his mind. Sengoku, don't worry about it. The two of us work together to defeat them. There are 5 of them, and one of them can repel you, so they started fighting rashly. What advantage can we have? That's what they say, but why don't they do it? What are they waiting for? Crane suddenly interjected. But in fact, there are concerns. From the present point of view, there is a big gap between the strength of the enemy and us. Certainly. This refers to the number of advanced combat forces. So once the 2 sides break out, the 5 can beat Garp. But first suppress the 2 of them. Who will deal with the other 3? The consequences will be unimaginable. Don't want to fight us? Sengoku analyzed. Could they really have something to do with 5 elders? Does it matter? Then why hold us back and protect Rodan and his gang? For a while, several people are a little worried. Things are too complicated and confusing, and they don't know what to do. But time is running out. It cannot be delayed any longer. Just when Sengoku's eyes flickered, he seemed drunk and made some decision. Below. The long-haired lady in a suit yelled out coldly. You dare to point your gun at us? It seems that now you Marine, you have grown your wings. As soon as this statement came out, accompanied by a trembling momentum. Let the hundreds of young Marines above hold snatches. There was a commotion slightly. Couldn't they really be 5 elders? Are you kidding? 5 elders are women? We haven't seen it, and we don't know it. Is it really too offensive to point a gun at someone? All Marines, you look at me, and I look at you. Subsequently, some people are under great pressure. I couldn't help but take it back. The rest who didn't dare to take it back all froze and shed cold sweat. Now, they're clearly on top, but he didn't feel condescending at all. Instead, he seemed to have done something disrespectful. Especially unnatural. Several people in Sengoku also felt this way. The 5 people on the opposite side really make people feel like they have been in high positions for a long time. Too strange. Sengoku, you bastard. Get the hell out of the way. The white cannon girl holding a long sword. Putting the sword on the ground. Even if it is empty, you dare not be presumptuous to us. Now. Are you trying to break away from the world government and become 10 families? Boom. A sound. Just when everyone thought that some kind of attack would erupt. Actually nothing happened. But secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Some luck. Sengoku is also very shameless to be scolded like this. His fists were clenched tightly, but he still endured it, and took out the special phone bug from his bosom. Dialed a past. He wants to see if these 5 are 5 elders? One mouthful and one old body. Do you really think people are stupid? When the Marine soldiers saw the marshal's stalwart back, they didn't refute at all in the face of the 5 people, and they panicked for a while. Really 5 elders? Could Marshal Sengoku really want to take us in rebel without knowing it? Then. Killed the 5 elders. A few Marines acted like detectives, as if they had noticed something. Their expressions changed suddenly. What nonsense are you talking about? A rear admiral just wanted to curse out loud. But when it comes to lips. But it became a soft whisper. Shut up. How could Marshal Sengoku betray you? He has to hold his nerve. If they all turn against each other, there will be trouble. Although the idea is pretty funny, but he couldn't help but take precautions. No. Marshal Sengoku did the right thing. Guys, have you really felt for a long time that what you did was just? The order issued by the world government is to maintain the order of the pirates. I don't know who it is. Suddenly shouted a few times. It seemed to stir the heartstrings of all Marines. The voices of support one after another suddenly sounded. Marshal Sengoku, your choice is everything to us. That's right. Why does the world government always overwhelm us? Our Marine has the strength to be unique. We must realize Marine's own justice, not passively accept others' justice. Obviously there are more and more pirates, but less and less. Shichibukai system, World Noble Tenryu, these. Is it really justified? Dirty things done by the world government. An illegal thing to turn a blind eye to, really too much. It's not that the lower-level Marines have no opinions, but they are too angry to speak out. Now. It exploded completely, and the first Marine to speak out. Say it. There was a weird smile on the corner of his mouth. He jumped into the sea directly and disappeared. Others. It was really brought into rhythm. And at this time, Sengoku, who had just dialed the phone bug, was in a daze. After reacting, he quickly wanted to cover the phone bug's ears. But obviously it was too late. Holy Land Marie Joys. 5 old men sitting on the sofa, listening to the impassioned voices of marine youths like the sound of waves. His face suddenly darkened. Sengoku, are you going to turn against me? Sengoku shields the phone bug with a white cloak. Immediately afterwards, Conqueror's Haki unleashed. Call. At this moment, the noisy voices of the marine soldiers subsided immediately. Damn, what happened just now? What's the matter? What's in your heart? Seems to be spoken involuntarily. Some people wake up. Realizing that he had said something wrong, he quickly slapped himself, 2 ears. Is there any troublemaker? Crane's eyes rolled. Look to a certain corner. Wait for the noise to subside. Then Sengoku explained to the other end of the phone bug. Are you kidding us, Sengoku? The old man also hopes that he is joking. In this way, you should see for yourself. Sengoku had a splitting headache, connected. After confirming that it is 5 elders, his sliver of doubt vanished. But the strong sense of doubt has not diminished at all. Sengoku winked at the adjutant. The adjutant understands. Hastily ran into the undamaged cabin, and Sengoku. Once again, he looked up at the 5 girls below. You 5. Do you consider yourself 5 elders? As soon as this statement came out, the Marines' ears also perked up. They also want to know. At this time, the 5 old ladies below. But they looked at each other, as if talking about the dignified Marine Marshal. How did you become so stupid? Seeing this, Sengoku was a little impatient. You are 5 elders. Then who are the 5 people in Marie Joy's? Ha 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 ha. Who are we? Sengoku, are you still playing dumb? You should know who we are. The bald girl covered her knees with an embroidered handkerchief. Take your time. Sengoku's eyelids twitched. He knows shit. Are you real and Marie Joy's is fake? Then. Are you here to reclaim your place as the true 5 elders? Think like this. His face became strange. Is this possible? He also came up to assist in time. Then everyone, dare to face the 5 elders of the Holy Land once. The rest of the people heard the words. A sense of anticipation suddenly rose in my heart. 5 elders versus 5 elders. How will this unfold? Why don't you dare? The white-robed lady readily agreed. The voice fell. On the warship, an adjutant came slowly. He put a video phone bug and 5 special phone bugs on the pole at the bow respectively. Adjusted the focus. Now, hundreds of meters away in this area, a reporter from Saboti Island hid under a boulder and recorded the scene dryly. True. True or false 5 elders? This is the news that can cause a world sensation, right? It's a pity that the chief executive handed over this beautiful job to us because he couldn't make the trip. But where did the chief executive get the news in advance? Stop talking nonsense. The main event is about to begin. Several people were talking. His expression became solemn and he remained motionless. At this time, behind them, a few men in black suits suddenly appeared and raised their pistols to their heads. These things are beyond your ability to record. The voice fell. Unexpectedly, several reporters responded faster. The stature shortened and turned. With the gun that had been prepared, he pulled the trigger and knocked them down first. It's not easy to be a reporter these days. Let's go. I've been discovered by the CP. We have to change positions. Haha. The more CP, the more valuable it proves, and it's even more exciting. Holy Land Marie Joy's. None of the 5 elders looked very good. Because yesterday's joke came true, actually. How dare you openly pretend to be them? Soon. The screen was set up by the guards. The 2 long eyes of the projecting phone bug are aimed upwards, shining a colorful figure. There was only one bare peer. A few old men with standing and sitting postures, protruding forwards and backwards suddenly appeared. The guard stole a glance. Discover. The 5 elders in front of me are sitting in exactly the same posture, even the position has not changed. Suddenly I felt a little horrified. Go out. Okay. Yes sir. Several guards hurriedly bowed and came to the door. But at the moment of going out, his pupils turned white. They all fell to the ground and were quickly dragged away. Indoor. An eerie silence. There was only the creaking of fists. Especially after the focus is completed and the 5 female elders are magnified. They all couldn't bear to look directly. One of the old men in white robes holding a long sword turned his head away with his cheeks getting hot. With their faces. Pose them. But she was wearing lipstick and holding a silk scarf. The key is, the figure is still so protruding. At this time, a voice came from the phone bug. Isn't it a little unsightly? Shut up. Saboti Land. in front of Sengoku's warship. There are 5 phone bugs of different shapes. Now. Everyone held their breath. The two sides looked at each other. This is unique in history. Who are you guys? What is the purpose? Is it to subvert us? Since we have used our posture, we must prepare accordingly. A series of dull voices came out of the phone bug and echoed on the pier. The 5th old lady also spoke. Don't you dare to show people your true colors? We are you. Purpose? I'll find out soon. It should be you who should be ready. Talk. Very arrogant. 1 sentence per person. Very close to the opposite side. The 5 phone bugs were silent for a while. Just when I was about to speak. The 5 old ladies below. All of a sudden they all stood up straight and knelt down towards the central area with one knee. On the warship. Seeing this scene, everyone suddenly had a bad feeling. What are they doing, and why are they going down the air? The color of knowledge and knowledge didn't notice anyone. These 5 people are so strong, there is actually someone who can make them bow down. While Sengoku Garp et al. Then he twisted his brows into words, and had an answer in his heart. But don't want to prove it, at this time. The center of the 5 old ladies kneeling. A tall and straight man with a handsome face revealed his figure out of thin air. Long time no see, everyone from Marine. Look. It's still polite. But compared to the past, he is more confident and calm. RO. It's Rodan. It's really him, this. Was he doing this again? Damn it, how many people does he have? Commander on a warship. They all clenched the long knives in their hands. Seeing this, Sengoku, Garp, and Suru were as expected. But the heart is heavy. It's so powerful that you can actually make these 5 strong men kneel down? It's confusing. What is it all about? Now. The 5 phone bugs showed an angry look. One of them even coughed up blood. Bastard, what is he? You 5 disgraceful things, get up quickly. It's okay to kneel, don't use our appearance. One that could make the 5 elders bow down. Who else? Only the grown-up. Use their appearance to worship a pirate. Isn't this blasphemy? What is it? Sengoku looked at the phone bug. It was the first time he saw 5 elders losing his composure. Master Rodan, naturally you are the master of the world. Even if we are gone in the future, aiding in people will eventually rule this world. Ascend, void throne, domineering voice. Even if the feminine voice comes out, it doesn't seem to be inconsistent at all. This made Rodan a little embarrassed, although there is such an ambition. But to some extent, you should also be scruples about the people and things he will face after you go back. Doesn't this openly declare war on the world government? And as soon as these words came out, not only did Marine's complexion change drastically. The 5 old snails were trembling uncontrollably. Big words. Do you know what you're talking about? The pirate wants to become the master of the world. It's just a dream. Sengoku Garp, don't worry, kill them immediately. The time has come. Then please give the order to turn off the lights this time. The 5 old ladies below, left and right sides. The white-robed lady wielding a long sword, and the fluffy lady holding a cane raised their heads slightly. This moment. They seemed to be from the identity of the 5 elders. Turned into 5 extremely evil pirates, obeying the orders of a pirate captain. Lights out? Perhaps another word would be more appropriate. Rodan glanced at the 1-minute countdown in the backstage, slowly opened his hands, and showed a smile. Just before my pirate group enters the new world, let this gorgeous fireworks bloom. Talking. There was an electric arc wrapped around him. Flash of blue light, it appeared at the high altitude of Saboti. Looking down from the sky, he looks like a real king at this moment. As you wish. The 5 stood up. 2 of them went to the coastline. Sengoku and Garp on the warship exchanged glances. The former turned into a golden Buddha. The latter clenched his thick fists and hardened his dark purple armor. War. 5. Emission, with one order. Dense fire snakes and black cannonballs spewed out first. Boom 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 boom. For a while, flames filled the sky. Because the warship is not far from the pier. The moment Marine launches, the shore attracted these bullets and shelling like raindrops. Now. The bald girl, the blonde girl, and the fluffy girl raised their hands together and walked parallel to the doctor. Call. Invisible. These thermal weapons seem to have been destroyed by an unknown force. Waves were buried in the air. The dust and smoke dissipated. As if nothing happened. Leave the rest to you, we. Stop here. 3 people say it. His face quickly paled. And in front of them, the long-haired lady with 3 white beards fluttering around put her left hand on the shoulder of the robed lady beside her. Scattered power is worse than being twisted together. Say it. The former trembled. The latter's complexion became even more ruddy. The lady in white robe nodded and took off her glasses. How long has it been since you shot? We used to maintain balance, so let's make an exception this time for Lord Rodan. Why? Exhausted. A trace of flashed in her eyes, and the aura of her whole body suddenly rose to its peak. Immediately afterwards, then he pressed his right hand on the yellow-green handle. Obviously the situation is so tense, she is still slow. This unhurriedness allowed Sengoku and Garp to fly. I felt inexplicably uneasy. Shua. The black knife was unsheathed. The surrounding air suddenly became colder. This is. On the warship. One of the 5 phone bugs made a sound of surprise. No. Impossible, how could she have one? But it hasn't waited for it to continue to wonder. The phone worm and the video worm all closed their eyes and fell to the side. As if being knocked out by something extremely terrifying. All Marines. Under Rear Admiral. Almost dizzy too. Devil may cry. The distant voice fell. At the same time, it was accompanied by the crisp sound of the scabbard falling. A black slash wave is like a blackened crescent moon. With bursts of crying. Straight up. Above. The golden light Buddha retracted his left palm, and swung his right hand into a fist. Pause time. The invisible fluctuations burst out. Shockwave. And beside him, it's Garp next to it. That huge purple-black fist also gathered all his strength. But when it is about to hit, Lady Changhu's eyes narrowed. It made Garp stagnate, and suddenly slowed down by half a beat. Only the forward Sengoku remained. Hulala. Sharp black blade. It cut straight into the shockwave, as easy as cutting jelly. Sengoku's eyelids fluttered and his teeth were clenched. At this juncture, he had no choice. Golden fist. Still hit the black crescent, but just a touch. Sengoku was pushed backward by him. You bastard, you still have to hold on if you can't hold it. Slow Garp. Stepping on the moonwalk from behind, he grabbed Sengoku's golden robe with his left hand. Flick towards it quickly. The right fist took over from him and slammed towards Ren fiercely. Boom. Another shock. The power of the black blade has been weakened a bit. But Garp's iron fist also drew a bloodline and was bounced aside. Even if hockey hardens, doesn't work either. And the offensive didn't stop there. Cut the waves. Cut directly to Garp's chest. Garp. Sengoku, whose eyes were about to split open, swung another shockwave towards the giant chopping wave from the side. Tried to cut some. But in a hurry, the effect is minimal. Boom. Finally the black blade took Garp. The large warship that was directly chopped into pieces, the sword light also rode all the way to the sky before gradually disappearing. Look back. On top of the waves, in addition to being torn into warships, you can still vaguely see strips of rags. And the blood seeping into the sea. Garp, Xiaohei. Sengoku watched all this helplessly. This moment. Even with the calmness blessed by fruits, Shan still became angry in his heart. He looked towards the pier. At this time, the lady in white robe and the lady with long beard had already spread out on the ground. So are the 3 in the rear. The 5 people looked like they were being slaughtered, which was in stark contrast to before. Shockwave. Sengoku stepped in the air and slapped hard towards the pier. He will not miss this opportunity. It's useless, we shouldn't be able to go back. It disappoints Lord Rodan. The 5 spoke slightly. Feeling the rapidly disappearing life, he calmly closed his eyes. And at this moment, a thunderbolt suddenly appeared in the sky. Covered the coming shockwave, and gradually resolved it. Immediately afterwards, a thunderbody in proportion to Sengoku. Float down from the sky. There's nothing to be disappointed with, just leave it to me for the last 30 seconds. Zephyr here. The battle has entered a white-hot stage. The loud noise just now. Naturally, it was also introduced here, but after a glance, the 2 of them returned to their own battles. Boom. The 2 were separated at the touch of a touch. Zephyr put one hand on the ground, wheezing and wheezing. At this time, on his right, the 2 disciples and a group of Marines who followed also fell to the ground. Like a statue. And the culprit is a red-nosed clown girl. Your subordinates are really unbeatable. The frivolous voice is getting closer. But it was stopped in the next second. Go away. A fiery red shadow came over. What a foul temper. Bucky folded his arms around his chest, but after seeing the blue thunder that appeared in the distance, he frowned. The body separated from the feet and flew forward rapidly. Sakaski stepped forward. Teacher Zephyr, it's time to decide the outcome. Teacher? Zephyr pushed himself up and grinned. I don't remember teaching such a powerful female disciple like you. And I won't recognize pirates as my disciples. Pirates? Sakaski heard the words. The high heel stepped on a convex stone and stopped. Zephyr wiped the blood from his forehead. Why, aren't you a pirate? Let's save this question for the last time. Sakaski shook her head. Finally? If this is the case, fight me with all your strength. Zephyr's huge shredder in his right hand turned suddenly. After all, I'm not old yet, so I don't need a young man like you to make way for me. Say it. He leapt into the sky with one step. And the jaws of the pulverizer suddenly split apart. Crush the blaster. The voice fell. A strong shelling was released. As you wish. Sakaski's eyes flickered slightly. Lava gushed out of his right shoulder, rolling and covering the palm of his hand before stopping. Call. The figures of the two people crossed each other. Sakaski turned around unscathed, with a calm expression on his face. And Zephyr. Then he staggered forward a few steps until he stopped at a dead tree. Just stopped. His chest heaved violently. The giant pulverizer that was stained with magma gradually shattered and fell onto the grass. Zephyr turned reluctantly. Leaning against the tree and covering his chest with his hands, he breathed heavily. Your fruit ability is really similar to that guy's Sakazuki. It's not like, it's lava fruit. Sakashiji shook his head slightly. Yeah. Zephyr was slightly taken aback, then smiled again. You used physical skills to fight me from the very beginning. You are really a strange guy. But I have to admit, your physical skills are indeed very good. It's fine if it's not a pirate, but his disciple. It's a pity, Mr. Zephyr, but you are no longer the demeanor of Admiral. Ha ha ha, since you call me teacher so sincerely. Zephyr put his right hand in front of him and squeezed it. There was a gleam of luster on the wrist. Then I'll be your teacher for a while and teach you the first lesson. Meet me once. Talking. He exploded with extreme strength. The body moves. Breaking through circles of airwaves, he blasted forward with all his strength with indomitable strength. And the last lesson. Sakaski muttered to himself. Afterwards, the magma dissipated actively, and stretched out a hand wrapped in black gloves. He also greeted him with a punch. Hoo-boom. A black ball exploded between the two fists, followed by. The power condensed to the extreme burst out. Sweeping through wave after wave of grass and gravel. Great damage was done. The wind also blew off Sakaski's hat, causing her coiled hair to fly into the air again. The pair fell again. Sakaski, with disheveled hair, glanced at the swollen fist. He picked up his hat with his left hand. The right hand strokes a curl of hair. Put it back on. And Zephyr, after exhaling a foul breath. He opened his hands and lay down on his back. Didn't you ask if you were a pirate before? I am not. What is that? If I had to define it, it would be new marine. Sakaski left the mess here, even under that man's command. She won't change her mind either. And Zephyr. A teacher who taught her a lot. The only way to repay him might be to beat him once with pure body art. New marine? I really want to build a marine purely for killing pirates. Zephyr watched the dusk. Gradually closed his wrinkled eyes. Then go on with your captain, my special female apprentice. Far away. The seawater fault that was cut in half slowly healed. That blow by the white robe lady. It reminded Rodan of the king's fist, of the king holding the glove in the original plot. The power is very strong. After successfully charging for 1 hour. It is said that even if the 4 emperors are hit, they will be killed instantly. Certainly. Authenticity is under investigation. But after that punch, he was not as weak as Bai Pao Niang. The appearance of a lady in white robe, it's like dying soon. Even recover. Whether he can make another move in the future has become a problem. Of course that's none of his business. Rodan, don't let any of you pirates stay today. Sengoku growled. He punched again. But the old woman lying on the pier had long since disappeared. Still watching helplessly, after swinging. Sengoku froze for a moment. The knowledgeable color explored every place carefully, but could not find the slightest sound left. He just said don't stay. Really ran away? And in Rodan's mind, the voice of the system came out at this time. Ding. The summoning time has come, the mysterious girly character is returning. Successful comeback. Congratulations on your next random draw. You will definitely win a 4-star, girly character. You now have a chance to randomly draw a faction. Would you like to do it immediately? Announce the faction role for the next draw in advance. After Rodan finished reading, slightly taken aback. Does it mean that the faction is announced in advance but cannot be extracted? Let's smoke it. Ding, the random drawing is in progress. Congratulations. You will win the Marine faction character in the next drawing. This extraction is a bit tasteless, etc. Marine? Isn't that what Sakaski is? Wrong. His Sakaski may not be exactly marine, so. Is this the first time you have a character from the marine camp? Then 4 stars can be matched. There are only a handful of them. Good guess. If not Fujitora Green Cow, Iokiji Kazaru. Is that Zephyr Garp, Sengoku Kong, before he could continue thinking about it. Sengoku's big Buddha shockwave has already charged. See Rodan here. Put your palms together and pull them together. An electromagnetic ball pushed up. Woo. In an instant. The blue day covered everything around. Rodan was sent flying tens of meters away. Now. Baki also flew over with a knife. This is Zephyr's side. See this for Sengoku. There was a bad feeling in my heart. At this time. Call out. Air. Suddenly, a beam of light particles gathered. Kazaru puts his hands in his pockets. At the same time, he glanced at the wreckage of the warship below. He raised his eyebrows slightly. The situation here is far worse than imagined. Why is there only Marshall left? Mr. Sengoku, the situation ahead is not good for us. Sengoku heard the words. He frowned and glanced at him. It seems to be saying, why did you come here suddenly? Oh. I can't handle it by myself, Sengoku-san. Kazaru said. Pulling out the Tiankongyun sword, he split the Zhanlang that Baji had slashed with a single blow. Kimpira from Gion. At this moment, Dover opened his hands in the air and flew over from a distance. Followed by. Of course it was Mihoko. The situation on Marine's side has gotten even worse. Mr. Sengoku, Fig. Under gusts of wind. Sengoku suddenly roared. Paluzalino, as a soldier, do you want to retreat at this juncture? Kazaru was somewhat bitter. The gap between the enemy and us is so great, why don't we stay and die if we don't run away? Hold on for a while. And Sengoku. Naturally, there is no impulse. Even if the life and death of colleagues are unknown. He also forced himself to calm down. At the same time, he glanced at the sea area behind. Seeing that nothing appeared, a trace of uneasiness appeared in his heart. And at this moment, Sakaski also resolved the battle and leaned towards this side. Here. Rodan's side is almost full. Sengoku clenched his palms. Withdraw. The words have not yet been spoken. Kazaru cut him off with a look. I can only see the sea behind. Speeding to a warship. Middle. Standing impressively was a man with white hair and beard in the shape of a mountain. Him with arms folded. Exuding a stern aura. The two who have led Marine on the front line since Roger's time, if the curtain ends in this way, I'm afraid it will become a big news right away. Say it. He stepped on one foot, he rushed forward quickly. At the same time, bubbles also appeared on the bottom of the sea. Immediately afterwards, a deep blue submarine popped up half of the head. And above the sky, you can even vaguely see airships marked with the word, Justice. It is clear. Marine support is here, Commander-in-Chief, Kong. Rodan murmured. Jumped on the huge flying boat that came by autopilot. Captain, that's enough. Bucky also landed on deck. Enough money. Look. Bucky pulled out devil fruit, Combelt's chart, and a pointer. You guy, you were really lucky. Dover and Mihoko also flew up. The latter. Also carrying Crocodile. Rodan also smiled knowingly, and rubbed Baji's red nose. As expected of Lucky Baji, if this is the case, then don't waste time, go directly to the Fishmen Island. The lesson for Marine is almost the same, business matters. And being touched by Bucky. As if being shocked by electricity all over his body, he trembled slightly. Some shyly wanted to say something. Dover glanced at Bucky. This guy. I usually hate other people touching their noses. Don't dare to say it when it's the captain's turn? Dover turned his head. Master Rodan, our film is not finished yet. Leave this to me to solve. Rodan smiled slightly. Take out the bubble machine, then pull the trigger. Hoo-hoo. 7 colored bubbles emerged from the transparency, quickly enveloping the flying boat. And below. Airships and warships fired fierce shelling at the airship. Sheesh. Intense cannonballs were fired. When Dover's eyes moved, he was about to start. One came out simultaneously and resisted these attacks. Let's go. Rodan pressed his left and right hands toward the deck. A silent space was created, covering the flying boat. Followed by, and the transparency of the hull. Pause time. Countless muzzles and fire snakes seem to be headless chickens. Lost and don't know where to start. Disappeared? It must be the fruit ability. Fruit. Can it disappear and be silent at the same time? Isn't that teleportation? The soldiers under Kong's command were a little confused. So, who can catch them? Give up the pursuit. Diving team, carry out the rescue mission first. With the voice down, the submarine immediately moved. The reporters hiding in the distance trembled their hands. You actually forced out the commander-in-chief of the 3 armies. It's terrible, with such strength. How will the other 4 emperors of New World deal with it? Now. Beside a giant bubble tree not far from the pier, a beautiful figure in a light red cloak quietly looked at the disappearing flying boat. The crunch of crisp fists sounded. How many days have you been here? Dumped her. Never mind. Fair enough. She just reformed a new marine. The world is strange. Sakaski's expression was not good. She snorted coldly and turned around. You are too distrustful, your captain. The voices came together abruptly. Then a warm arm hugged her. Sakaski was taken aback. Then there was a sharp grinding of teeth. Don't touch, there. Ah, sorry. Rodan smiled. But you can't resist, can you? Talking. He held Sakaski in his arms and jumped back to the flying boat on the side. Gulu gulu. A soundless layer of bubbles rose from the shore. Holy Land Marie joys. 5 elders don't know what happened after the phone bug died down. I hope Sora can arrive in time. Sengoku and the others will definitely not be able to take down those 5 people. These 5 people? Are they all members of Rodan's crew? The old man in white robe articulated a problem that the other 4 were unwilling to face. When I was kneeling before, I heard them say the word Mie. If it's fake, how could they say that word? Are you trying to say that we are fake? The bald old man raised his head slightly. I've never heard of a devil fruit with such imitative and creative abilities. Maybe they are us? They just used unknown means. Several people guessed, but more and more startled, as if getting closer to the truth. But why 5 old women? As soon as this statement came out, the old faces of a few people turned into liver-colored. Subsequently, a phone call to report the battle situation made the faces of several people turn gloomy. Make a needle drop in the meeting room. A long time. Only then did someone speak out. At least, the situation is better than we thought. 5 elders with long straight hair leaned on the sofa. Zephyr and Garp's life and death are unknown now, and Marine's future combat power in the face of unexpected battles is obviously insufficient. In this sea, it is difficult for Marine to form checks and balances. Speaking of this, it has been confirmed that the Teach who betrayed the Whitebeard pirates is the most vicious Logia fruit. Dark fruit? It's just wave after wave. It's so hard to deal with Rodan and his gang now. Blonde 5 elders put down their sore legs, open a world conscription, and give Marine 2 Admiral special enlistment rights. The rest of the people frowned slightly when they heard the words, as if they were also making a decision. Up to now, this is the only way to go. I'll talk to Sengoku later. The blonde 5 elders nodded. In addition, Lord I Am, this matter must also be reported. Speaking of I Am, all 4 of them looked solemn. Although the 5 of them are in charge of the pinnacle of world power together. But there is one more person, but it is truly above the pinnacle. Then let's stop here. The matter of world conscription must be put on the agenda as soon as possible. With the last old voice falling, the 5 of them also ended this conversation. The pattern of the world. A new change is coming soon. The Battle of the Water City broke out between the Marine and Rodan pirates, causing shock and becoming a topic of discussion on the second day. On Bonero Island on the Grand Line, something happened. The whole group broke through the tens of billions of bounties? The thief, forced all 3 admirals to retreat. They really did a great job. A black robe coat. Teach, with his belly open, handed the newspaper to the crew member Fan Oka. Hey, look. This is news from the Rodan pirates. 10 billion. Rodan alone has 2.5 billion, which is an exaggerated figure. Badgers and Lafitte were also attracted. A look of shock. What is this concept? Certainly unique in the first half. Even in the second half. Except 4 emperors. This is almost the highest bounty offered, and with such a huge reward in news. Rodan's name. It seemed to be galloping and swept through every corner of the first half. Various social classes. Pirates, officials, merchants, craftsmen. Even a geisha. I remember his appearance clearly. If someone still asks who is Rodan, I'm afraid that I will be ridiculed by the people around me at the first time. Laugh at. It's a birdman who doesn't care about worldly affairs. At this time, Poison Q, who was sickly lying on the white horse, said with difficulty, that guy is called a Shichibukai hunter, won't it affect our next actions? Thief what does it matter? Marine won't sit idly by. Teach grinned. Besides, he is going to New World, and he doesn't care about us at all. He deserved those monsters. In fact, Teach is interested in Rodan, who appears frequently in the news. There is also a trace of fear in my heart. if you meet. Even with dark fruit, he has inflated strength. Also had to be treated with care, without him. The Rodan Pirates. In addition to being called a Shichibukai hunter. There is also a title. That's the weirdest pirate group ever. Every crew member. It seems that they all appeared out of thin air, and there was no resume before that. One debut. That is the ultimate combat power. This is weird. Even the world government recognizes it. Van Oka, who was carrying a sniper rifle, flipped through the newspaper slightly. Suddenly raised his head. That's interesting news from the other side, being held down by Rodan. Captain, the Straw Hats have captured Eni's lobby, and now the bounty is going to skyrocket again. Speaking of Eni's lobby, it is famous for the sea train in the City of Water. Ghost Security Officer, Lafitte said slowly in a suit and hat. It's not far from here, which is another kind of fate. It's within our shooting range. What a pity, these unlucky guys. Cough cough cough. Why ha 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 ha. Badgers held a large package and opened his generous hands. Let's go, Captain. Of course I'm going. Thieves ha 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 ha. Teach kicked away the townspeople under his feet, and stepped forward. Come on, get ready to set sail. Yo, get busy. Hey, wait Teach. I've been looking for you for a long time. I saw the top of the house on the side. A muscular young man wearing an orange cowboy hat squatted and looked at them. That is under the high sun. The Whitebeard Pirate's tattoo on the back is so dazzling. Teach paused. Turned a corner. Grinning and walking sideways step by step. Oh, ace. Captain, asterisk. Before that. Except for Rodan. I'm afraid no one will know the meeting between the two, and it will be a fuse for calm. Set it on fire. An unprecedented super war breaks out. Evening of the same day. Rodan drove the Ark to the bottom of the Fishmen Island. Officially marching towards the New World, and Marine. Even late at night. Still busy with the big search and rescue operation. The other side. It also counts the number of casualties caused by Wu Lao Niang and the Rodan Pirates. Especially Zephyr and Garp. Former. There is little hope of recovery. The latter. Although he was seriously injured, he relied on his strong physical fitness. Started eating donuts again. The strength of the physique makes people feel very tongue-tied. And at the top of Naval Headquarters, an urgent meeting was held to discuss what the 5 elders conveyed. That's world conscription, and 2 admiral candidates are open again, and urgent enrollment expansion begins. The workload. There is no doubt that it is very big and involves many things. B. Nothing is more troublesome than not having enough combat power. As for the safety of the Fishmen Island, then ignore their business, even though it is a member country of the world government. But the Fishmen Island was also taken over by Whitebeard. They shouldn't worry. Just when Marine worked overtime all night and was working in full swing. Rodan leisurely dived to 7,000 meters. Baki was enjoying the sea view, dozing off. And Crocodile. In the teaching of Mihoko, he honed his physique and swordsmanship, with a look of gnashing his teeth. In addition, you have to wear several hats. Laundry and cooking are all included. In place of Tashigi, she became the hardest woman on board. Crocodile, on the other hand, understood Voschi's difficulties. But there is no way. Sometimes the weak have to bear everything. And Crocodile, who has a strong personality, will not take the initiative to ask Rodan. Ask at most. Why, don't you go to the Amazon Lily first and find Hancock? I've come to the Fishmen Island, isn't it better to go there? Rodan radiated arcs of electricity. Current quenching is in progress. What about the old woman's body? It's impossible for the whole crew to turn around for you alone. Dover looked up slightly. The tall figure allowed her to look down at Crocodile. Besides, what are you now? I'm afraid you are not even as good as a single finger of mine. Chat, chat, chat. She covered her mouth and chuckled. Crocodile is an old crew member. The most arrogant one in the past. Few people in the whole ship could take a liking to her. In fact, they are all the same, and they don't like each other. Still need to run in. Then you try. Crocodile drew his knife and slashed at her. And Dover. Just flick the right finger. A thin thread easily held her knife. Then flick slightly. Crocodile rubbed against the deck and flew the doctor upside down. But she was not discouraged. His eyes flickered slightly, and he smiled coldly. HMPH. It's a pity that the fingers are so white and flexible, so they don't need to be used on him. You bastard. How dare you even say this? Dover opened his eyes slightly. He sneaked a glance at someone, and saw that he closed his eyes and looked indifferent. I was relieved. Dare to molest Lord Rodan at will, Crocodile is not usually courageous. Why don't my mother dare to say it? Crocodile stood up straight. Is it too much for you to massage the captain with your hands? Want to court death? Dover narrowed his eyes slightly. Actually, she does. I am afraid that the captain will not agree. All right. Rodan stopped them. Dover bowed his head slightly, very respectfully. Crocodile turned his head and left the place. I will use this body to become stronger and catch up with you, old lady's man. Rodan heard her heart. He raised his eyebrows. The strength is achieved in a pinch, not to mention Tashiji's weak body. Unless Crocodile has a chance, it is really difficult to change. That's it. Following the vortex and torrent, the ark penetrated 10,000 meters below the sea without any risk. It's been quite smooth along the way. Even sea kings, sea beasts that popped up alone, were caught and made into delicious food. Not long after, a vast dark seabed appeared in the eyes of everyone. For it is night on land. The sun tree Eve of the Fishmen Island cannot absorb sunlight, so it is also in a dark night here. See. There are all kinds of fish floating up and down. There are also white clouds in the sky. Looks fabulous with seaweed and rising foam. And the central area. It is a huge island wrapped in several layers of foam. The Fishmen Island, here we come. Sakaski walked over to the railing. In the past, she came to the Fishmen Island several times in pursuit of pirates. To enter, you need to follow the correct path. If you break into the island illegally, the coating will automatically peel off and merge with the shield on the island, resulting in inaccessibility, and some ships will fall to the ground in the middle air layer. Even if you forcefully break through the shield, invading ships will also be swept away by the seawater inside the shield. Now, the ark went around in a circle before finding the correct path. Entrance. Hello, is there a boat coming? Who came down so late? Wait, is that ship type the Rodan pirates? Suddenly, a long-lipped murloc exclaimed. Let the rest of the fish shudder. Hurry up, tell the Neptune Kingdom of the Pia Battalion. The chief guard raised his trident and greeted his subordinates. So he swam to the front with a few murlocs and blocked the forward route of the ark. At the same time, in the mermaid cafe inside the Fishmen Island, a beautiful mermaid with short black hair, cold eyes, and a hooded top. I am telling the clerk to close and call it a day. Suddenly he trembled all over. He looked up at the top of the Fishmen Island. At this time, a cute mermaid swims up and asks, What's the matter, Shirley? There is a terrible existence that will bring destruction to the Fishmen Island. Shirley held the pipe in his hand, trembling slightly. It was her first time. Such a strong hunch. What? So what should I do now? The rest of the mermaids also panicked. Tell King Neptune quickly. The entrance to the Fishmen Island. The ark slid straight in, and a group of murloc guards turned their eyes white, and all passed out. Sorry, I don't like wasting time. Rodan stands at the bow. Withdrew his sight. It's just passing through the Fishmen Island. Who is so nonsense and take their time with them? Sign in. See if Jinbei is here, it's almost there. Could it be? Can you still be addicted to the beauty of the mermaid? Well, speaking up, there seems to be a Shirahoshi princess here? The moment Rodan entered the Fishmen Island, the system sound suddenly sounded. The famous The Fishmen Island is detected. Do you want to sign in? Why so fast this time? Rodan was slightly surprised. Sign in. Successfully signed in at the Fishmen Island, congratulations. Ocean Star 1? Mermaid Transformation Physique Card 1. Mermaid Transformation Physique Card. For women only, the user will transform into a mermaid. Not only has the ability to survive under the sea, but also the quality of all aspects of the body will be greatly improved. You can switch between human body and mermaid body at will. Ocean Star. The wearer can manipulate the water element at will, and can deprive any merfolk of a natural ability. Mermaid wears it to be effective. Note. When depriving a mermaid's ability, the deprived person's consent is required before it can be used smoothly. Rodan's first reaction after reading the introduction. That is the trip to the Fishmen Island. Worth it. Mermaid makeover card. Even if he can't use it as a man, the female crew just happens to be able to use it. He is looking forward to it. What kind of posture will the crew look like after they turn into mermaids? And Ocean Star. If you manipulate the water element at will, wouldn't it be an innate advantage to face the capable person on the sea? Wonderful. Rodan turned to look at his children. Who of you wants to be a mermaid? Seeing their puzzled look, Rodan explained. Subsequently, unexpectedly, all the girls seem not interested in mermaids, even if it can increase their own strength. You can give the order directly, and we will obey. Mihoko said. But, Crocodile interrupted her again. Let me do it. For a while, several people looked at her. They don't want to. It's because they can't accept the appearance after transformation. It's not that the Murlocs haven't seen it before. They feel hot eyes. What kind of body is she who is weak and weak? She has no manliness at all. Still fighting like that. Who will bear it? Crocodile looked indifferent. Anyway, this body is not hers. Although how to fix it? But, I have a request. Require. The corners of Rodin's mouth twitched slightly. Giving it to Crocodile is also good, just to make up for the lack of strength. Give yourself something. Why is she still asking? Tashigi stood aside, not knowing what to say. This is her body. Don't you need to ask her opinion? You kiss me, and I promise you. As soon as this statement came out. Except for Sakazuki, the faces of the girls all change. Good guy. How dare you openly take advantage of the captain? Tashigi couldn't help it even more. Ms. Crocodile, that's me. It's mine now. Crocodile didn't mind at all. If you don't want it, forget it. Rodan puts his hand back. Of course yes. Crocodile snatched the card, and a look of satisfaction flashed in his eyes. I was just joking. How do I use this? It's like, boyfriend is testing girlfriend. Crush it. Snapped. The card shattered. Groups of dark blue tentacles quickly emerged from the card. Wrapped Crocodile. Until the end, it turned into a cicada pupa-like thing. It seems that it won't get better after a while. Rodan looked away. Tashigi's body turns into a mermaid. I don't know what it will turn into. Thinking. He took out the ocean star and temporarily placed it in the storage ring. The ocean star is a beautiful pendant in the shape of a deep blue gemstone. Very beautiful. Give it to her when the transformation is complete. In addition, this thing was introduced. It can deprive mermaids of their natural abilities once. But what talents can a mermaid have? Etc. Rodan suddenly thought of something. Princess Shirahoshi as Poseidon summons the ability of the Sea Kings. Is it talent? I don't know if it can be taken away. After all this. But ancient weapon. An existence that claims to be able to destroy or save the world. The more Rodan thought about it, the more he felt that the idea was feasible. Blame it. He is not a mermaid and cannot wear a pendant. Otherwise, you will deprive yourself. But Tashigi is the same, he can't betray himself anyway. As for the requirements for the exhibition, not a big problem. At this moment, the arc has passed through, and has come to the sky above the Fishman Island. Under, it is a coral building with different shapes. Through the inside window, you can also see the faint lights. Quietly. Scattered Murlocs walking until night. After seeing the arc, voices of discussion rang out one after another. His face was also full of shock, obviously. They recognized the Rodan pirates, it can be seen from this. Even if the Murlocs live below 10,000 meters in the sea, they basically cut off contact with the above. But, news on the ground, they are still relatively well informed. For a while there was a commotion in the residential area, and the lights were turned on all of a sudden. As this? The Rodan gang who are making a fuss? Is it finally time to enter the new world? That's not right. Didn't the Battle of the Water City just broke out a few days ago? Why did we arrive at the Fishman Island so soon? Could they be looking for Shichibukai, the boss of Jinbei? Shesh, talk less. Look, the people from the palace are coming. At this time, in the dark depths of the Fishman Island, clusters of dazzling lights were ignited. Immediately afterwards, a phoenix-tailed chariot, belonging to the royal family, is towing a tall mermaid with a crown. Swim fast. And behind it, it was a pair of mighty Murloc soldiers. Part of it also came down and evacuated the residence. It can be seen that it is solemn. I just don't know if this solemnity is good or bad. The Poseidon army of Dragon Palace Kingdom is here? And the great knight Neptune, shouldn't there be a fight? Neptune came to the ark with his left and right ministers and Poseidon army. Surprisingly, Neptune gave a slight salute, very politely. Your Excellency Rodan came from a long way, we didn't come out to greet you in advance, so we went to Heian. Respectful tone. It made the surrounding soldiers feel a little surprised. Rarely had they seen the king like this. It's so late, I'm bothering you. Rodan didn't expect the other party to be so polite. Thus, it's not good to do it directly. Your Excellency and the crew, you probably haven't had dinner yet. Why don't you come to my palace and have a sit down? Neptune showed a sincere smile. I can order people to go down and prepare immediately. His heart. In fact, he knew Rodan's purpose. Except for access to the new world. Just for Shichibukai Jinbei. And his own strength is so powerful. I can't afford to offend easily. Let's build a good relationship first. Thinking. He saw a beautiful woman of various imposing manners walking on the bow. They are all faces that can be seen frequently in the newspapers recently. This made Neptune's look. Be more careful. At this time, Baki came up and smiled. Hey, mermaid kings, there should be a lot of treasures in your palace, right? It's too polite, don't you want to kill us with poison? Dover intervened in the floral trousers and said with a playful face. Treasure? Poison? Is this really what pirates always think? Neptune shuddered. Everyone can rest assured that we, the Fishmen Island, have always been warm and friendly. At this time, a subordinate suddenly approached his ear and began to report something. Just for a moment, Neptune's expression suddenly changed. Subsequently, he struggled a bit and said with some difficulty, I'm really sorry, everyone, the Fishmen Island may not let you stay for a long time. I'm so sorry. Neptune wanted to explain, but couldn't explain well. There's no way to say that, could it be blunt? Said you will bring destruction to the Fishmen Island, hope you can understand, leave as soon as possible? Isn't it nonsense for outsiders to hear this? But Mrs. Shiarly's prophecy never miscalculated. Just not sure when it happened. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next year. So the Rodan regiment stayed a second longer. There the Fishmen Island is a little more dangerous. Just when Neptune was ready to be questioned by Rodan, Rodan's answer greatly exceeded his expectations. Very good, I still like your true attitude. This way, I don't have to worry so much. He smiled. Neptune was taken aback for a moment, and then quickly said, Your Excellency is here for Jinbei, he is not here now. Whether I'm here or not, I know. Rodan had just searched through the mind web. Indeed, he didn't notice his figure, and he didn't know where he was slapped by the tyrant bear. But it doesn't matter. He came to the Fishmen Island to do something. Neptune swallowed, feeling a bad premonition. Then come, Your Excellency. For your precious daughter, of course. Daughter? Neptune was taken aback when he heard this. Then he took a hard look at Rodan up and down. Shook his head. Sorry, Your Excellency, the physical difference is too big, so I can't agree. Let's not talk about pleasure when the two are together. Even having a baby, I'm afraid I won't be able to give birth. Rodan smiled. Shirahoshi 17 meters tall? When can't he turn on Thor's state? Etc. What are you thinking? How did you get brought there by Neptune? Rodan coughed and looked serious. Your daughter is Poseidon from Ancient Weapon, right? The voice fell. The word, Poseidon, Neptune couldn't help but clench the trident in his hand. But his face was full of doubts. I don't understand what you mean, and besides, the Fishmen Island is now the territory of the Whitebeard pirates. If you want to mess around, please think carefully. Whitebeard. Before Rodan could speak, Dover was the first to laugh out loud. She, are you still dreaming, old man? Now that we're here, are we still afraid of Whitebeard? As soon as this statement came out, the left and right ministers couldn't bear it anymore. Ma'am, please show some respect to King Neptune. Whitebeard is the Four Emperor. That's the man who holds the title of world's strongest. At the same time, the Murloc soldiers started talking softly to Dover. After repelling Marine, are you so arrogant? A few females are even more arrogant than men. It's really rare. Whitebeard has 16 captains, and besides that, there are 43 affiliated pirate groups. The right minister in the shape of a seahorse said bluntly, this huge force. You don't need to introduce yourself. Sakaski walked up to Rodan, and his sleeves fluttered. The evil four emperors should not have stayed talking. Her right hand turned into hot lava. A palpitation of temperature. Even after more than 10 distances, the expressions of the Murlocs still changed. Let's do it, and then go directly to the Shell Tower, Princess Shirahoshi's side. Rodan turned around. Follow the open air hall. He walked directly to the main seat of the flying boat, which is also on the throne. What are you going to do to Shirahoshi? Neptune didn't get a response, so he waved the golden trident directly. The peace of the Fishmen Island is not allowed to be broken by you. Poseidon army, let's go. The captain of the Murlocs in armor. He also greeted the soldiers behind him. What you get is not a response. Instead, it pierced through its body, that cold halberd. The blood spreads. I saw that it was a Murloc soldier behind me who did it. The captain's eyes were unbelievable. Why would his brother stab him in the back? Captain, I can't control myself. While looking terrified, the Murloc soldier drew out his trident. Put it on again. The hands are active. Not only that. The rest of the Murloc soldiers also suddenly became chaotic, and each of them started to kill each other. Even King Neptune couldn't help himself either. Pick up the trident. He roared towards the left and right ministers. The golden fluffy beard flutters up and down. Very imposing. Even if the old waist is broken in the middle. He still wields the tiger with great power. Neptune's face changed drastically, and after picking up the left minister, he hurriedly shouted to the surroundings. You guys leave quickly. Don't come near me. Hulala. Respond to his. There was a sound of gold and iron, accompanied by traces of blood mist. Now, the Murloc people who had just been alienated below suddenly panicked. What is the big knight doing? My god, why did you slaughter your own soldiers? Why is the great knight so cruel? He is always benevolent. Something's wrong, the soldiers are killing each other too. Could it be that the soldiers turned their backs and all voted for Rodan? Too cruel, he is not worthy to be a knight and our king. Neptune listened to the discussion below, and his work was not slow at all. That's a lot of fun. But his heart sank to the bottom. A pleading look quickly appeared on his face. Your Excellency, I know it's your Excellency, please help me. These are my people. Talking. He cried out heartbroken. The big shark under his feet also called out. Cha-cha-cha. The weak must be ready to be dominated at any time. Dover chuckled. The 10 fingers of both hands are flying back and forth, as if playing a beautiful song. She never claims to be a good person, since Fang has moved. Isn't it too late to say this? At this time, the magma of Sakaski faded, and this scene, there was no need for her to move. Soon, under the puzzled and terrified eyes of the people, only a panting Neptune remained, and himself. He was also tied to the flying boat and accelerated to the hard shell tower. Add up time. But Rodan took his seat and made a cup of tea. Immediately afterwards, Neptune is a majestic king. With bloodline stained on his cheeks, he was escorted to the front of the Golden Palace in a state of embarrassment. Rodan. Captain, didn't you stop Ms. Dover earlier? Rodan sighed. Standing like a little secretary, Tashigi looked a bit unbearable. She felt that Dover's method was too cruel. The vitality of the Murloc is very strong. Rodan glanced at her. Say no more. This kind of thing. There is nothing to explain. Is it possible to stand still and let it be tied up? Below the steps, Neptune's eyes were bloodshot and bloodshot. You are a cruel devil. Idiot. Watch your mouth. Bucky on one side pressed Jinpira against his chin. King Neptune, what you should do should be Yuan Chu. Rodan took a sip of tea. We're going to your daughter's place. You thugs. What are you doing to my daughter? I said you were too small to fit. Neptune gritted his teeth. Until now, still refused to admit it. Also, she is not a weapon as you said. If you act recklessly now, you will be punished by Whitebeard. Boom. Baki directly slapped him unconscious. How dare you say that the captain is small? If the captain didn't say you were useful, he would have dealt with you long ago. A dark blue cocoon on one side. As if he heard something, he moved slightly. Why, you stupid crocodile is not convinced. Baki approached and whispered. Bucky. Rodan was speechless. Ba Ji and Lao Sha are simply the second treasures on board. Captain, I was wrong. Baki shrank back and put his hands behind his back. Girly face. Coupled with big watery eyes, he looks extremely innocent. Do not recognize. It's really easy to be deceived. At this time, Dover stepped onto the red carpet and walked in through the gate with a newspaper. Lord Rodan, this is today's news. It contains news about the Straw Hat Boys as you ordered. Just throw it over. Dover nodded. Swipe your fingertips. The thin thread dragged the newspaper and floated to Rodan's hand. Rodan glanced over. He grasps the dynamics of the Straw Hats. I would also like to get a general idea of the timeline. On the top. Except for the Battle of the Water Capital on the front page. Pressed down. There's also information about the Straw Hat crew destroying the Eni's lobby. 2 pieces of news. Although the timeline is not on the same day, it is also very compact one after the other. Without Rodan's Water City campaign, the news about Eni's lobby is what makes the headlines. Did they ruin Eni's lobby even with my intervention? Rodan put down his water glass. CP9. Wasn't it almost wiped out by him? Could it be that other CP personnel tried to snatch the blueprint of the iceberg? Was it connected in series by Straw Hat crew? What a coincidence. And in the original plot. After the Eni's lobby incident, Ace had a fierce battle with Blackbeard on an island, and it was also the fuse that broke out in Summit War. Summit War. Rodan's heart heated up. This battle. But gathered many strong men from the sea. He has been looking forward to it for a long time. With my own joining, the camp will definitely be more gorgeous. In addition, it also kills 2 birds with 1 stone. Even under his influence, the world government still has not abolished the Shichibukai system. Once the Summit War starts, can the rest of the Shichibukai be called together? Together to help. By that time, Rodan can serve all in one pot. That's easier. Before that, let's get rid of Bright. Rodan calmed down. Considering, there are nearly 8 days left until the next call. It is estimated that there is still a while at the top. Before that, try to summon another sissy character. Be prepared. In this way, he already has 3 4-star characters and has more capital. Think like this. The flying boat in the autopilot state also came to the princess of the Fishmen Island. Shirahoshi's bedchamber, outside the shell tower. And Bucky. After getting the answer on the way, he couldn't wait to go to the treasury to search for treasures. But the cocoons are not broken. Mihoko was left on board to guard. Rodan and his party entered first, because Shirahoshi rarely showed up. Dover and Sakaski are also very curious about what the so-called ancient weapon looks like. Now, Neptune, who was entangled in the thread, was also dragged down. Just when everyone was approaching the gate, call out. A thick spear. Throwing from the skies suddenly. Z. But not close. It was fixed and entangled in midair by the transparent thread. The color of knowledge and knowledge, I can't sense who is projecting it. Dover frowned slightly. It shouldn't be a surprise attack. Weapons on the door, and more. It's not that I can't sense it. Rodan shook his head. It's your knowledge, it doesn't extend that far. Talking. He stretched his wrists into the air. A thick thunder twisted and flew straight into the sky. 80 million volts sanction. The clouds surged down. It quickly shifted to the other side, turning into a billowing thunderbolt. Boom. The shock exploded. Rodan felt the breath of life dissipate. As if doing a trivial thing, he opened the door and walked into the bedroom. Catches the eye. It is decorated in a pink style, and there is a faint fragrance. The room has long hangings, a huge bed with nightstands and bed lamps. There are also finely carved chandeliers. It looks very gorgeous. On the giant bed, it is a woman with long flowing pink curly hair and a plump bust. The lower body is a beautiful fishtail in shades of pink. The girl's figure is huge. The face is even more. Etc. Rodan froze for a moment. Then he rubbed his eyes, a little in disbelief. Famous for her beauty, the mermaid princess is a little different from what I imagined. I saw the mermaid princess with a sloppy beard and an extremely obscene face. Is this a replacement of Kizaru's face? Rodan felt a little spooky. Before coming in, he didn't investigate Shirahoshi in detail, but wanted to leave a surprise and reveal it head on. After all, it is judged by the world. In terms of beauty, the mermaid is not inferior to the pirate empress. But look at this. Where there is surprise, it is clearly fright. Is this Poseidon? The corners of Dover and Sakaski on the side twitched slightly. Father. Shirahoshi growled, then suddenly jumped over. Discharge. Rodan raised his index finger. A frantic electric current surged forward, roasting her into a scorched fish. Then his body moved. Then came to the back door of the hard-shell tower. At this time, a team of guards and a big Prince Sharkstar with blue wavy hair. Surrounded by the real Princess Shirahoshi, flee away. They didn't have to stop until Rodan appeared. I received the news quite early, so there's still time to change the position? Rodan smiled slightly. A snap of the fingers. The flying thunder swept over all the mermaids except Shirahoshi. Boom boom. The sound of thunder filled the air. The mermaids, including Sharkstar, all fell to the ground. Just one hit. The destructive power can be seen in Amadera. Nice meeting, Princess Shirahoshi. Rodan admired. You are really beautiful. Don't worry, they just fainted temporarily, and I have no malicious intentions. Elder brother. Shirahoshi put his hands on his brother and shook, but he couldn't feel the slightest sound. Can't help but burst into tears. Master Luo. Rodan, please spare the Fishmen Island and everyone. Of course, I'm not a villain. Rodan nodded. The innocent Shirahoshi rolled his eyes. Really, really? At this time, boom, a landing sound came. The dust and smoke dissipated. It was Neptune's body, which fell from above. Daughter. Daughter, run. Obviously, he woke up. Seeing his father's tragic state, Shirahoshi burst into tears again with a wow. Father. She, dignified Poseidon, actually cried out. Dover jumped from the crust tower. Ming Niang, can't you be gentle? Rodan shook his head. Neptune lay on the ground and let out a rough breath. What are your plans? Deprive your daughter of her powers. This kind of thing. How is it possible to do it? Neptune clenched his fists. I feel like I'm talking nonsense. Rodan didn't care either. You'll find out soon. Talking. His heart skipped a beat. He looked at the ark not far away. Almost the next second, a deep blue light bloomed on it. spread out with the invisible fluctuations. At the same time, there was a gentle and flowing breath, like a breeze. Gives a very comfortable feeling. Even Shirahoshi stopped crying and looked up. Neptune also raised his head, a friendly breath. It looks like it's finished. The voice fell. A figure of Qianlin jumped off the flying boat. She has wave-like blue long hair, creamy skin, beautified face. Finally, with the dark blue fishtail, it gives people a very amazing feeling. What a nice view. Neptune couldn't move his eyes away for a moment, but he quickly regained his composure. No, there is actually a mermaid kidnapped on your boat. Only. A mermaid with such beauty. Impossible not seen awe. But he didn't get a response. I saw the blue mermaid twisted. Appearing in front of Rodan, she brushed her hair and showed a captivating smile. Completed the gorgeous metamorphosis. How about it? I can't tell, it's Toshigi. Rodan smiled slightly. Much more flavor than Toshigi. And since then, there has been one more sailor who is good at water. Dover, on the other hand, looked disgusted, and became more and more arrogant. You actually know each other? Neptune was startled again. There are also mermaids on Rodan's boat? Who is this old man? Crocodile raised his head, clearly exuding a friendly aura. But it's a look of refusal. Put it on. Rodan took out the ocean star, handed it to her, and walked straight to the starfish. Princess, you have a dangerous power in your body. Shirahoshi was stunned. I do not know what that means. As an ancient weapon, you summon the power of the Sea Kings. Rodan put his hands in his pockets and glanced at his side. I don't want to waste any more time. Crocodile girl, it's up to you whether you can master this power. Say it. He stepped aside. After Crocodile put on the heart of the ocean, his heart became excited. Ancient weapon, she has been hungry for a long time. Get it. It is not difficult to control the sea even if you have mastered a big killer. But it's cheap Toshigi, she glanced at Rodan. You can't stay in this body forever, can you? After going back, isn't it all for Toshigi? Toshigi can't go back now. Dover walked slowly. I am very envious of such a good opportunity. Crocodile didn't pay attention to this woman who would only be an afterthought. He snorted coldly. He walked up to Shirahoshi. Hey, woman who wasted the power of Poseidon, give it to me so that I can use it better. The prerequisite for the activation of deprivation of natural ability. Is the other party voluntary? The success rate of direct use will be very small. You want you to nod your head, give up this power, and we will leave immediately. Daughter, you can't promise them. Neptune suddenly shouted. He had a faint bad feeling. Can it really be taken away? Although it sounds unbelievable, there are too many strange things in this world. If it can be done, if they master this power, the Fishmen Island will definitely be destroyed. Well, I'll listen to my Lord Father. Shirahoshi clenched his hands tightly for a rare moment of strength. What an inkblot. Dover moved his right hand. 5 silver threads flew out. With a huge body of more than 10 meters, Shirahoshi got up involuntarily. He picked up his brother's trident, moved towards Neptune step by step. Like a marionette. Boom, old man. What do you think we brought you here for? Dover saw Rodan leave. He sped up his movements a little. And Rodan. Then follow the heart network. Came to Mermaid Cafe. The door of the store, which was supposed to be closed, was still shining with a glimmer of light at this time. Squeak. Rodan pushed the door open. Meet the worried Mrs. Shirley. And a few mermaid shop assistants. R.O. Rodan. Shirley couldn't hold his pipe steady and fell to the ground. Why did you come here? The store manager has it all. The mermaid shop assistants were even more unbearable, trembling all over. Mrs. Shirley, did you predict that I would bring destruction here? Rodan spoke lightly. He's not that bored destroying something the Fishmen Island. After Crocodile succeeds, it's time to get down to business. What did you do to King Neptune? Before I answer you, do me a favor. Rodan smiled a little. I think you understand, Mrs. Shirley. His laugh. Let Shirley look a little horrified. Subsequently, under the astonished eyes of the clerk, the two walked into a small room. Could it be? Probably not. How could such a strong man be interested in this kind of thing? Can Mrs. Shirley take it? Inside the room. Shirley put both hands on the purple divination crystal ball. Since you've come to the Fishmen Island, I'll trouble you to make a prediction by the way. Rodan sat down on the sofa. This woman. But predicted the advent of the era of great pirates, and the fall of Whitebeard. It is rumored that the accuracy rate is as high as 100%. And for the future, who cannot be curious? I see. On Shirley's back, traces of sweat overflowed. After forcing myself to calm down, she began to predict. But the picture in her mind made her feel too unbelievable. This is absolutely impossible. Shirley looked shocked, and fell down and sat on the stone surface. It was a golden temple. On the top, a man in a cloak stood. And below it, kneeling 5 people of different shapes and clothes. These dress up. It is exactly the same as some strong men on the sea. Just can't see the face. And on both sides of His Highness. There are also all kinds of robes that are so familiar to her. Shichibukai, marine executives, even 4 emperors. The people of the 3 major forces, it's all in there. But how is this possible? Shirley doubted life. These people. How could it be possible to gather together at the same time and surrender at the feet of one person? Just when she wanted to move on. When I saw it more clearly, among the 5 people kneeling down on the steps. Far left. A beautiful figure in a red robe and a jazz hat turned her head sideways. He glanced lightly. It seems to penetrate time and space. Straight into her soul. Extremely sharp. It's a pair of eagle eyes. Shirley was shocked, and then was ejected from the divination. Turn around again. But found himself limp on the ground. Shirley was about to wipe the sweat off the back of his hand. But I found that it was covered with dewdrops. And forehead, palm, back and even tail. Every corner is also sweating. Why? What did you see? Rodan was a little curious. If possible, he wanted to ask, what girly character would be summoned next? No, maybe. My prediction was wrong, Shirley muttered to himself. This was also the first time she doubted her divination ability. It used to be 100%, but this, it's really incredible. Thinking. She told Rodan what she had seen. Your prediction is not wrong, but it is far away. Rodan shook his head. So many sissy characters. Gather together. How does this allow him to analyze which comes first? Thinking. He got up from the sofa and approached Shirley gradually. Speaking up. Shirley is also a mermaid, good looking. But the always glamorous personality dissuades most male mermaids. You. What do you want to do? Seeing him stretching out his claws, Shirley panicked for a while. We female mermaids can only have legs after the age of 30. You can't do anything to me, she pretended to be calm. But the fishtail kept receding, and the purple jumper cap fell off. Betrayed her. Just to give you a hand. Rodan saw a misunderstanding. Also no longer close. It seems that my style has misunderstood you deeply. Say it. He didn't linger anymore either. Push the door and walk out of the small room. The clerk saw someone and left. Only then hurried into the room, but when they saw Mrs. Shirley limp on the ground. Still panting. When you were in a cold sweat. The beautiful mermaids all gasped. So fast. How did he do that? If you dare to talk about this now, hurry up and comfort Mrs. Shirley. And outside the coffee shop, there was a flash of thunder. Rodan is outside the crust tower again. The heart of the ocean on Crocodile's neck bursts out with blue light. Directly opposite. Impressively Shirahoshi. There is a mass of white ons in the center. Apparently her bloodline ability as a Poseidon is being taken away. No, you can't do that. Neptune was still trying to persuade. She. This kind of power is the safest if we control it. Dover sat on the nearby reef with his pockets in his pocket. Okay. Taking your things will not be in vain. Rodan stretched out his palm. A violent thunderlight gathered. The guy who has been attacking your daughter for many years has been solved before. As for the one who assassinated your concubine, Hody Jones, since I sensed it, let me punish you as well. Hody Jones, did he kill Otahime? Impossible. Neptune's eyes widened. Heart shakes, but he was quickly attracted by the thunder that surged up. See here. My heart throbbed suddenly. Wait, peace is. Boom. A thunderclap interrupted him. In the remote New Murloc Pirates station. Giahahaha. I heard that Rodan and his gang entered the Fishmen Island, and that old Neptune was arrested? Captain Hody Jones laughed loudly. God help me too. After Rodan leaves and the palace's troops decline, we can attack the palace and completely control the Fishmen Island. Boss is brave. But the boss. That Jinbei guy is still Shichibukai, in case he comes back. A squid cadre wearing armor hesitated to speak. On the side sofa. Baozang took a sip of the wine and said dizzily, what are you afraid of? That guy has already been beaten into a coward by Rodan, if he dares to come back. Hiccup. He burps. We'll scare him with Rodan, ha ha ha. A group of cadres all laughed. It seems to have seen them acting recklessly on the Fishmen Island. Okay. This matter is very important, I have to check it out. As a great white shark, the last thing Hody Jones lacked was guts. And his ambition is about to come true, so he stays obediently in the base camp. It is impossible. Thinking, he opened his arms to embrace the dark sky. Sincerely excited. Jiahahaha, I was indeed chosen by the heavens and endowed with strength. Say it. God seemed to respond to him. A thunder light nearly 10 meters long fell directly from the sky, engulfing him. All the cadres. Whatever you say. That's the power. Is it too dry? Before the cadres rioted. In an instant. Dozens of thunderbolts fell one after another. Damn, what's going on? Is it thunderbath? Put your mother's fish fart. The captain really brought the power down? Run. After a few seconds. All that remains of the station is a charred residue. And the bang. It was also once spread to the distant hard-shell tower. Neptune trembled even more when he heard it. This is human. Is it possible to control the power? It's over. You're welcome. If you have any difficulties in the future, you can tell me. Rodan smiled slightly. Seeing that he is about to master Poseidon. His mood also improved. Now, Crocodile's deprivation of power is almost coming to an end. The soft white glow that emerged from Shirahoshi's body was about to merge into his body. Inherit the new High King. At this time, an earth-shattering beast roar made the whole of Fishman Island start to vibrate. Crash. In the inner sea of the Fishman Island. A column of water pierces the sky from the bottom of the sea to the top. The seawater scattered. 5 massive super sea kings are revealed. Each. Both are kilometers long. The body shape almost crushes all the sea kings that Combelt and Grand Line have appeared in. The well-deserved overlord of the sea, and they appear. But it made the already flustered residents of the Fishman Island feel even more uneasy. Roar. 5 sea kings of various colors. Skull aimed at the crust tower. There were bursts of terrifying beast roars. The strength of sound waves. It directly shattered the glass and concentrated towards the center of the tower. Forte. It tore Neptune's eardrums open. Stronger than Dover, Sakaski and others, the chest also felt oppressed. And ordinary fish people. Not to mention, he rolled directly on the ground. The power is extremely terrifying. Seeing this, Rodan moved his right hand. The invisible shield spread out in an instant, and quickly covered the whole of Fishman Island with this as the center. Silence encirclement. For a while. The noise dissipated without a trace. However, the silent vibration still exists, making people extremely uncomfortable. Not enough. Rodan raised his head slightly, his eyes flickering. Fruit of silence. It can bury the sound without a trace, but it can't do anything about the vibration. This is just an initial use. After this period of development, if it is still limited here, then there is no need to develop fruits. Then, try the newly developed moves. Silent double stack. Rodan pressed his palm down. On an original basis. A silent space was superimposed again. Pause time. The shock dissipated quickly. Reached a tolerable level. Silent and vibrating. Lord Rodan, has it developed to this extent? Dover was slightly taken aback. She once collected the fruit of silence. It was also given to a cadre to eat. Although the cadre is good, he has been developing it for more than 10 years. But it still can only cover a town. The rest stayed put. Let her down. It's good to do assassination, but it's not limited to that. Not to mention the development to a deeper level, like Lord Rodan's level. At every turn, you can wrap an island. Compare the two. What a world of difference. Rodan exhaled. Overlay 2 layers. That's his limit. This level is no longer limited to sound, but has entered another level. That is to silence the vibrations. Rodan has feelings. Every time a layer is superimposed, new changes will appear. Continue to develop in the future. There is a lot to do. Don't hurt our king. At this time, the Sea Kings poked their flat heads over here. Just an eyeball. It's as big as several basketball courts. And the pupil. And aimed straight at Crocodile. This king can't be regarded as a change, it can be her. Rodan frowned slightly. Through HeartNet. He felt the voice of his heart. So, are these giant Sea Kings aware of something? Several Sea Kings became anxious. One of them stretched out a giant tentacle. Still don't care. Mixed with strong power, it blasted through layers of airwaves. During the time of complete integration, you will not be allowed to make mistakes. There was an arc in Rodan's eye. He is also very curious. What kind of level can the power summoned by the ancient weapon reach? On the flying boat, Mihoke put his right hand on the long knife on his back. Take the lead in leaping out. Call. A white crescent. Dispelled the darkness in its path. In the end, it was cut to a tentacle that was nearly a kilometer long and had fleshy texture. although this cut is very big. But compared to tentacles, appears too small. But even so, it still shocked the residents of the Fishmen Island not far away. There is an 8-sword swordsman leopard on their island. Is the blatant #1 swordsman, but the slash cutout is nothing compared to this. It's like throwing a fish home. This is. It was made by the Rodan Regiment, the so-called strongest female swordsman, Hawkgirl. Even if he is the strongest, no one can beat him with this body type. Yeah. The size alone is 1,000 times the difference. If you can't win the battle, you will suffer. Did it really bring us to destruction? Their lips flapped back and forth, even if they couldn't make any sound at all. But still can't stop the discussion. Lala. The first knife broke a small hole, but that's all. Seeing this, the residents are all as expected. However, after Mihoke swung the saber down, he didn't stop, and only after he swung the saber twice in succession did he stop. And these two knives, in the strange eyes of everyone, they merged into one. Then enter along the tentacle cut. There is no sound. In surprised eyes, the front end of this tentacle quickly turned into pieces of flesh. Scattered in the air. Hold head high. The tentacle monster Sea Kings let out a pain, and stretched it back quickly. Did it? How can this be? To know. That's 1,000 miles long. The residents wiped their eyes, and the fish began to tremble. At this time, the lightning around Rodan also dissipated. Take back the quiet space. It wasn't because of Mihoko's blow. Rather, fusion is complete. The pupils of the 5 Sea Kings shrank, and they withdrew their thoughts of attacking. Everything calmed down. Shirahoshi's tender body went limp and fell to the ground. And Crocodile. Then he showed a smile. The Far Sea. You will be our king from now on. 5 Super Sea Kings. He lowered his head deeply. Guhahaha, what a wonderful taste. Crocodile put his arms around his chest and laughed heartily. Ancient weapon, it will be mine from now on. There was a light in her eyes. The tail flicked. Then he jumped to Rodan's side and hugged him. And you are mine too. A domineering. Emanating from Crocodile again. It was weak in the past. Always suppressed by women, unable to have Rodan. And now, her long suppressed heart. Finally freed, able to act recklessly. At this time, she is in the mermaid state. Not only has his physical fitness improved a lot, but even the nearby water elements are extremely friendly. Not to mention mastering, Poseidon. Give her some time. The whole sea will be his own. And this man. The inflated strength made Crocodile extremely confident. She hugged the man in her arms tightly. Pursing his lips, he said arrogantly, sooner or later, you will become the man of One Piece. And One Piece. Naturally it was herself. From now on, you must also obey me. Crocodile lowered his eyebrows slightly, with a condescending attitude. Looking towards Dover and Sakaski, and the former. One sentence sent her back. Did your brain get kicked by a donkey? Dover tilted his head slightly. How dare you take advantage of the captain? I'm so tired of work. Chat. Talking. 5 thin wires surged out. Take a good look at your woman's strength. Crocodile's tone was extremely gentle. Then hug him. Temporarily placed in a safe location. Rodan watched Crocodile go away. I don't know what to say. Now. The water flow on the surrounding shores turned into giant pythons, accompanying Crocodile. Down to Dover together. As a capable person, I can easily solve it. Then try. Dover snorted coldly. Quickly leapt out of the attack range of the anaconda. However, the anaconda seemed to be spiritual. It moved its head, and chased after her again. 5 color strings. Dover grabbed. The anaconda tore apart. But the next second, it was reassembled together. At this time, Crocodile flickered behind her. The armed color flashed. Then he clenched his fist and hit him hard on the back. Boom. Dover turned and took it easily. Free left hand. Then blast towards its abdomen. Fish scales quickly appeared on Crocodile's vestline, with a confident look. Boom. There was a muffled sound. A blue shadow then flew down. A deep pit several meters long was smashed out. Dover fell down with the fluttering pink coat, and squatted down and asked, so, you told the captain. Whose man should he be? In the pit. Crocodile laughed arrogantly. Don't be complacent, clown, did you forget something? Sea Kings. A call the 5 Sea Kings who just got under the bottom of the sea and wanted to sneak away raised their heads again. Let them go back. Rodan said. I pinched my eyebrows. This guy. She must be brought back to her original body immediately. This is only 5, there are so many Sea Kings in the world. Not well controlled, if gathered together. It's really scary. Go back. Crocodile couldn't control himself, and subconsciously said it. The five looked at the giant sea kings, looked at each other, and then went down again. Crocodile also jumped up. A look of unwillingness. Being punched by Dover, nothing happened. You can try to see if you can summon it again. Rodan reminded her. Why not? Crocodile frowned. Next, no matter how she yells. None of the sea kings responded to her anymore. What the hell is going on here? After the ability is awakened, how can it be so easy for you to master it as you like? Rodan shook his head. It is estimated that a certain requirement for the summoner is also high. Take your time. Thinking. He glanced at Shirahoshi, who had just woken up, and Neptune with a shocked face. Saying farewell. It won't be long. You guys think we will destroy the Fishmen Island? Rodan half joked. Say it. He patted Crocodile on the shoulder. You should practice summoning ordinary little fish first. Are you leaving? Neptune couldn't believe it. Come on. Leave for this? Wait, this thing is pretty big too. The Poseidon that appeared once in hundreds of years has been deprived, who can believe it? Poseidon. Both the government and the pirates covet this spear of power. Perhaps. Is this also a good thing for the Fishmen Island? Besides, nothing is done. He can't do anything, he just hopes that the other party can be kind. I hope you can treat this ability well. Will do. Rodan smiled knowingly. This trip to the Fishmen Island was an unexpected surprise. Time flies. 2 full days have passed since the Five Elders incident. Marine also started world conscription. Cooperate with the government. Now in almost every corner of the country, you can see the posters posted. Light can always dispel darkness, and justice will never retreat. The title is printed very large. It also attracted the attention of passionate young people. There are also some vagabonds who have been around for a long time and are unknown. They saw the words, Admiral, in bright red. There was a ripple in my heart. Marine is going to make a big move. Maybe this is the opportunity I'm waiting for. First half. Alabasta. King Cobra, standing above the capital city. I sighed with emotion. Did he force Marine to go to this point? On the other hand, Rodan officially embarked on the deeds of the New World. Clever news agency. Announced to the world early. And his arrival. It's like being on an unsettled lake. An atomic bomb was dropped. Completely explode. Dressrosa. This is the land of love and passion and toys. At the moment the city is on. Walking toy dolls can be seen everywhere, accompanying human beings in and out of the streets. Everyone's face is full of joy. A volley of news dailies landed. Let their countenance change greatly, but that's another matter. It said, Doflamingo pulled out next week high, isn't this His Majesty the King? Wait. What's next? He resigned from the throne at the same time. Resign. What's going on? His Majesty the King loves the people like his son, and has developed the country so prosperously, why? Unbelievable expressions appeared on the faces of all the people. But soon, they just thought of something. It must be that Shichibukai hunter. Damn it, Rodan pirates, why did they enter New World? Damn, they are scum. That's right, if it weren't for them, the king wouldn't have left office at all. Die. Why don't you die? Why doesn't Marine care? The sound of the waves, wave after wave, gradually submerged the entire kingdom. The people hear the impression of the king in their hearts. It is immensely great. Doflamingo. In the past, they saved their country and pushed the Riku royal family down. It is not an exaggeration to say that he is the savior. 2. But because of this pirate group, he was forced to give up Shichibukai and the throne of the king. Undoubtedly aroused public outrage. But it is understandable to resign Shichibukai. Why resign from the main position? Idiot, His Majesty the King doesn't want to implicate us. Well. Corner. Aside. Even a homeless person doesn't want Deputy Ming to leave his post. Only 500 of small human workers trapped in the dark factory, and their Princess Mancheri. Their expectations are the opposite of the populace. Almost even cheered out, at the same time. In the gladiatorial arena, a braided pink-haired Rebecca in cool clothes and armor. Stare at the newspaper. In the eyes, mixed emotions emerged. Did this man, on his own, let Doflamingo retire? But the fact is that Rebecca was disappointed. That afternoon, a warship with the flag of government officials arrived here. The 3 CPOS from above. This matter was specifically clarified, it was purely a false report. Pause time. The people surrounding the palace began to cheer. Now. On the highlands of the king. Sunshine, swimming pool, wine glass, and a group of beauties in bikinis. Surrounded here. But at the moment, it didn't arouse Doflamingo's interest at all. Instead, his face was gloomy. Damn it, you are so determined to kill me? Something in the newspaper. It was the news that he fabricated together through the government. When he learned that the Rodan regiment entered the New World, they sent people over to negotiate at the first time, but all ended in failure. Last resort. He made up this matter in order to get away with it. But who knows? The Rodan regiment's intention to destroy him still hasn't changed. Then he didn't bother to pretend. Blue blue blue. The phone bug rang. Doflamingo's eyes moved, and he answered. You Marine, are you finally willing to contact me? Opposite. A serious voice came back. Sorry Doflamingo, we're busy with world conscription. We can't spare anyone to help you. Hee, Rodan and his gang have a secret, I think you will be very. The words are not finished yet. The phone bug closed his eyes. Brother Ming sees this. Suddenly laughed lowly. Such an important matter, they actually hung up impatiently? Not far away was a beautiful woman in a bikini wearing a swimming ring. Seeing this, he thought he was in a good mood. I want to come over quickly, unexpectedly. What greeted them was brutal cutting. Call. Blood spilled all over the pool. Boom. Brother Ming withdrew his 5 fingers and smashed the table with his fist. Blue veins appeared on Brother Ming's forehead. Young master, it's time to drink medicine. At this moment, a girlish voice sounded. I saw a little green-haired girl with bare feet and a small cut. A bowl of coffee-colored thick soup is coming. Brother Ming, who was in a bad mood, was about to get angry when he saw that it was Granu. Only then did he ease his brows. He glanced at the peaceful trouser leg. I hated the Rodan regiment, especially that woman, even more. That woman. Not only did it leave a wound on his heart, but also left a wound on his important parts. Think about it. Brother Ming took the soup and drank it down. Fist. Then there was a creaking sound. Hate. A bold idea came to his mind. Young master, it's okay, no matter what, I will never leave you. Granu snuggled up to Mingo's abdominal muscles. Caressing slowly. It also dispelled the haze in Brother Ming's heart a little. Go down, Sugar. Sugar smiled. See it leave. Brother Ming dialed another phone bug on his body. Soon. There was a loud laugh. Ooh, Doflamingo, I heard you quit 7 warlords of the sea. Kaido, Dover wanted to choke hard. Certainly. Just think about it. The tone is still the attitude of the Lord's Day. You mean, you want Lousy to help you deal with that, Rodan pirates? That's right. As a deal. You said the bargaining chips are very strong, but they are just a bunch of brats, and they make you so nervous. Hey, their pirate group should not be underestimated. Dover heard that he didn't care, but Kaido. Really don't care. Let's talk about the Saboti incident 2 days ago. At that time, this matter was blocked extremely tightly because it had too much impact on the world government. Even in the always bold world news, there is not much useful news. Just a rough report. Even him. There is only a glimmer of understanding. But if you know everything, the facts must be far beyond imagination. Kaido is a bold and careful person. I don't know. There's one very important thing to say. Their captain, Rodan, probably has. What did you say? That woman who looks exactly like you as yourself. Even across the phone bug, the strong smell of Kaido can be heard. What bullshit calling. You have learned how to joke. It's all right. I've wanted to meet him for a long time. Lousy will pass by. Better take your crew. He's at Punk Hazard, soon. Before Brother Ming finished speaking, he was hung up again. Frowned. His cadres plus Kaido's subordinates. Added together. Only then can we hope to block and even kill the current Rodan regiment. If Kaido comes alone. Thinking. He looked up at the sky. Very sunny. But I feel the tide he can run. But where can you run with the whole family? So many years of hard work. Can't fall short. So Rodan had to be removed. And his weird female crew, but continued to increase. Dover felt his scalp tingle. It's not about him alone. Marine, the world government, this matter. Are you pretending to be stupid, or are you really not clear? Punk Hazard. In the huge laboratory. Guy, Sarah and Monet. It's so familiar and strange. A woman in a pink cloak stepped on a man who was emitting gas. Beside. It's lying on the ground. Woman with long grass green wavy hair. Now. The cold snow is constantly gushing out of its body, and it is gathering together quickly. You. Are not, the young master, talking. She waved her right hand. The biting cold snow turned into a vortex, sweeping madly. Call out. A huge red wire was pierced into it. It directly wrapped around Monet's neck and strangled tightly. The snow vortex dissipated by itself. Dead. Dead? Guy gritted his teeth. The body wobbled. Who knows? Dover shook his head. Hook with a show finger. Guy was lifted up by Schwankong. No. Don't kill me, I'm still useful. Guy sees death approaching. Unable to live up to the wah-wah cry. Don't worry, with you here. That guy won't run around. Dover smiled. That guy scatter. But I feel that this is more wanton and terrifying than Doflamingo's laugh. At this time, Rodan, who had changed into a pale gold cloak, came over. It's time to go. While that Doflamingo guy is still in Tokushima. What he studied on this island, there is no interest. Not to mention the periodicity, it is not necessarily safe. There is a summoning system. He doesn't have to bother with those who have and don't. Speaking up. It's been less than 6 days since the maiden call. After killing Brother Ming. About 4 days. It's coming soon. Doflamingo, One Piece, Murloc Jinbei, Hawkeye. Sakashi Ji leaned against the wall and threw a newspaper. Now there is a new Shichibukai. Blackbeard teach. They are missing, should we go find them one by one? Blackbeard? Dover frowned. She had never heard of this guy. He's pretty gutsy. Rodan narrowed his eyes slightly. Besides, of course you don't need to look for them one by one. Doflamingo will only be the last one. The rest, all in one pot. Blackbeard appoints Shichibukai. Indicates that Ace has been handed over by him and has been impounded to impel down. However, the execution time has not yet been announced. It is estimated that Marine is still in Merchant Star and deploying plans. The battle is not far away. As for whether it will be because of him. To change the course of the war. Then it depends on the world conscription this time. The confidence given to Marine is not enough. To know. Count yourself. New World is the real 5 emperors. Balance. It was broken long ago. Whether Marine will make up his mind to clean one up, who knows? Think like this. The system beeped. Ding, the famous punk hazard is detected. Do you want to sign in immediately? Sign in. Congratulations on your successful sign in. Get 4.5-star level character fragments *2. It can be used after reaching 10 pieces. When summoning a girly character, a 4.5-star character will be obtained. 4.5 stars? Rodan was slightly taken aback. The strength of the 4-star characters, there are currently 2 on board, the strength is beyond doubt. Then after raising it to 4.5 stars, how much sleep will there be? Who else can be summoned? Rodan looked forward to it. $8 left. Hope to get it together sooner. Soon. A group of people boarded the airship again. Follow the navigation map towards the nearest island. That is Dressrosa Go. Now. In the open-air Golden Hall, several female guests have tombs. A relaxed look. After all, I have fought 3 admirals before, a Ming brother, it can't be more difficult, right? At this time, Guy saw, who was handcuffed to the sea stone, swallowed. Cadre family of Doflamingo. But Shichibukai, the most powerful, is also the strongest pirate group under the 4 emperors. Are they not nervous at all? It is worthy of being a werewolf in the newspaper every day. Guy lowered his head and quietly glanced at Rodan, who was in the first place. Where are your eyeballs looking? Crocodile punched it up. Boom. There was a muffled sound. A fist mark appeared on Guy's face and he passed out. HMPH. Goran dares to spy on my man. Hey stupid crocodile, be careful. Killing it is worthless. This guy can still exchange money with Marine after using waste. Bucky floated over. You love treasure so much, you should eat the golden fruit. Pirates don't steal treasures, so what kind of pirates are they? Bucky was immediately unhappy. Besides the fruit. Is that what you want to eat? Be more careful this time. Dover crossed his legs and interrupted them. I am very familiar with the people in the family, such as the most dangerous sugar. Be careful of capsizing in the gutter. Especially you 2 idiots. But think of the family that is about to face this world. She also had a glimmer of hope. What's your name, old lady? Well, it's almost here. Above. Rodan took a bite of the banana. Left and right sides. The quietest Sakaski and Mihoko with her navel exposed. Hearing this, her beautiful eyes moved. Finally. Can you do it? Dressrosa. At present, the birdcage has been arranged, and it is so big that it covers the whole island. And the people also looked at death as if they were at home. Dang Ming gave them permission. When it was possible to leave the country early for asylum, not many people left. All choices live and die with the state. This made Brother Ming at that time. His face was very touched, and he swore immediately that he would definitely defeat the villain Rodan. Get the country out of trouble. Under the emotional rendering, the people all took up arms. Like a soldier about to go to war. That's right. Brother Ming is very smart. it directly binds the entire island. In other words, if the Rodan regiment wanted to kill him, they had to face these excited people first. Certainly, Brother Ming won't be naive enough to rely on this. It really depends on a group of strong cadres. Besides, Kaido of Beasts, now, on the highlands of the king. Brother Ming gathered all the members above the cadres and said something from the bottom of his heart. Toribol, Seka, Diamante and others, all are silent. The family faces its greatest challenge ever. But they. Get ready too, here we come. The transparency was lifted within 10 kilometers. Right now. Standing on the corner of the high ground, a woman with flowers on her head and a dance dress. Thumb and index finger intertwined. Put them in circles on your eyes, looking into the distance. It can monitor everything within a range of 4,000 kilometers. The Rodan regiment was discovered in the second time. First timing is thousands of kilometers away. That's right. She lied. She even hopes that Rodan can save the Wailaku royal family. Hey, are you here so soon? Toribol was the first to turn around, showing his chipped teeth. Don't worry, Dover. It will be fine with everyone here. Although a few days ago, he was shocked by Dover's injury. But that was alone. Now the strength of the whole family is gathered together. Not to mention, there will be reinforcements. It must be fine. It is because of you that I feel at ease. Brother Ming said. Get up slowly. Open your hands and 10 fingers and embrace the sky. Subsequently, just when it's time to hold on tight, Baby 5 picked up the high heels, held a bowl of soup and placed it in his palm. I haven't taken the medicine at noon yet. She was dressed as a maid, very caring. Brother Ming turned his head. On the corner of the grinning mouth, veins floated slightly. Just when everyone thought he was going to get angry. Gulu. Brother Ming held the big bowl tightly with his right hand. Enduring the bitterness, he drank the medicine in one gulp, and then threw the bowl aside. Shang Tian clenched his fists. The test. Has begun. Dressrosa. On the outermost edge of the birdcage. The flying boat hovered outside. The windwheel on the ship is constantly rotating. As if urging something. Look into the cage. You can see citizens and toy dolls one by one, holding crude weapons one after another. Looking up nervously. Don't come near. Get out of our country. We will never give in, don't even think about taking His Majesty the King. Sporadic voices. Gathering gradually, roaring towards the flying boat. Hey, it's been a long time, Bo. Dover clapped his hands. Numerous fine long wires invaded the birdcage, making a burst of zzz noises. Doesn't seem to be working. The hearts of the people are slightly relaxed. As caged bird, wouldn't it be better to fly out? She smiles. Shook his head. Take a step forward and leap forward. Then, in the eyes of the people of Tokushima, a palm was attached to birdcage. Big crash. Call. There was a burst of volatility. After, birdcage began to disintegrate at a speed visible to the naked eye. At this time, Brother Ming also flew down from Wangzi Heights. Cha, we meet again, how could I let you succeed so easily? He pressed his palms together, quickly began to repair with a thin line. But what made Brother Ming's face change was that his speed. Was far behind the speed of the opponent's destruction. It's a bit different than expected, soon. At a certain tipping point, the birdcage completely dissipated and turned into nothingness. Followed by. It was a red shadow leaping forward rapidly, her right fist was wrapped in thick magma, and she slammed forward fiercely. Red Lotus. The sweet voice rose. Brother Ming felt the scorching heat. The right fist is mixed with strong power, and it also goes forward. Grunt. Boom. The magma rolled. Then it exploded. Brother Ming's right hand convulsed. Immediately afterwards. The whole body is wrapped in the lotus pulp in full bloom. Break through the airwaves, then fly down. Boom. The road smashed into a huge lava pit. No. Won't it? The king is so different from her? Impossible. I must have read it wrong. The people nearby swallowed their saliva while retreating. Run away? Sakaski jumped down, but her sight. But not in the pit, but in other places. Hey, your opponent is me now. The voice fell. A rocket with a green outer shell ejected rapidly. Sakaski turned slightly to one side. The rocket grazed her cheek, and flew to the rear and exploded with a roar. Not far away, carrying a rocket launcher. With a cigarette in his mouth, Baby 5's pretty face changed. At this time, partner Buffalo also jumped. Let's deal with her together, Baby 5 nodded. It immediately turned into a sharp blade. Buffalo took hold of her. The figure spun rapidly, rotating projectile cannon. At the same time, other Don Quixote cadres also came to assist. Rao G, half Murloc Dellinger, Senor of Waterfruit, Yora of Artfruit. Let the scene suddenly exciting. Number of people. It can be said that the Rodan group has formed the ultimate crush. No matter how many ants there are, Sakaski raised his hat. Let me give your pirate family a luxurious funeral. The reward. Just lives. Stop talking big, who do you think you are? Huh. I saw it in the air. A man with his chest hair exposed and his body hidden quickly fell down. 10,000-ton base of hell, his weight. Using fruit ability, it suddenly increased to the 10,000-ton level. Even the air. All compressed and twisted. This weight. He is confident that the woman in front of him will never be able to take over. Mahabe made a move? She didn't hide, so confident? Never mind, we are also ready to deal with the other Rodan regiment. Several senior cadres looked at each other. It's time to take action. Boom. A terrifying shockwave spread out. On the street. Centered on Sakaski's high heels. It started to crack. On the other hand, Mahabasi turned into a lava cocoon and fell to the side. Twisted a little. Then there was no movement. The senior cadre's eyes became serious. Sakaski stepped out from the sunken brick surface one step at a time. Then his right hand touched the ground and raised his head slightly. Remember, this is hell. Talking. Endless magma was released. Immediately afterwards. Baby 5, within 100 meters of Buffalo. Layers of magma rose rapidly, turning into twisted flower-shaped high walls. Accompanied by grunts. In an instant, several people were covered in it. Hell ceremony funeral flowers, the voice fell. A series of intense barbecue sounds rang out. Ah. Lousy is scalded to death, let us out. Use the bazooka. No, I can't go out at all. Ah, my high heels have also melted. Harden with hockey and rush out. Pity, they accomplish nothing. Swim. Senor activates the fruit ability. Want to drill down from the magma ground, unexpectedly. Just halfway through the swim. His pacifier, diaper and baby cap turn to ashes. Hockey is also rapidly depleting, as the time goes. The temperature is still rising, soon. The wailing of several people was gone. Only the 1,000-degree blazing turbulence of the magma remained. Now. Half of Sakaski's face, all flowing lava. There was no trace of emotion for pirates in her eyes. Viewed from the side, she's a beauty in red. But in the eyes of the surrounding civilians, it is extremely terrifying. Quick. Run. This is simply not something we can deal with. Go to fight against the pirates on the horse. I knew Lousy would have left the island. Never follow the trend again. People within a few hundred meters dispersed. On the roof of the house. Diamante, who had 2 facial lines on her face, took 2 steps back after seeing this scene. The people in this pirate group are too weird. It's obviously the ability of the pirate Admiral Akainu. Damn it. Diamante steadied his mind. The long sword in Yang Chi's hand was swung down by Lang Lang. Half Moon Funeral. A powerful wave of sword energy roared down in response. But just shout out. A faint sound appeared next to his ear. It seems that you still haven't figured out the gap between us. What? What? Diamante's pupils shrank. Lover's Avenue. There used to be couples in love everywhere. But at this moment, some are just heartbreaking. Now. Another group of family members with long knives and spears came. But I haven't run a few steps yet. Dense filiform wounds appeared on the body. Collapsed in a pool of blood. Dover put his hands in his pockets. Walk here leisurely. Behind it. There are already piles of corpses with clown patterns engraved on them. There are some cadres among them. They are all familiar family figures. Dover looked away. It's nothing more than a gender swap and a slight adjustment to the appearance, but the rest can be said to be exactly the same. There is a strange feeling. Thinking. She gradually locked onto Brother Ming's clear position. But 2 more figures stopped her. It's Wavy Faseka in samurai armor, and Gladius with a Super Saiyan head. Stop. Seka made a shrill voice. Come here, you. What are you doing? Gladius held him back. Seka was taken aback. Do not know what is happening. How can you talk to the young master like that? Gladius glared at him, and hurried forward. Young master, the Rodan pirates have arrived. Let's help you hold back some people first, you. Snapped. Seka slapped him with a slap. Look carefully, this guy is just wearing the young master's clothes. Seka shouted in a hoarse voice. Look at her chest and butt muscles. It's obviously a woman, look clearly. That's rude, Seka. Dover pulled out his silky hands and said softly, okay. Don't let me down, you two. The voice fell. He disappeared in place. The two people in front suddenly became tense. The other side. Flower field. This is a field of sunflowers, and it is also the revolutionary headquarters of the Liku army. It was originally quiet, until the arrival of Rodan. The place was completely ignited and boiled, and Li Wuwang made a decisive decision. Together with the little people, they formed an army. They know. Rodan is here to deal with Doflamingo, who is Shichibukai. This. Clearly a great opportunity. Everyone, Shichibukai hunters, Rodan's group is very powerful. It's so powerful that it's easy to defeat the Don Quixote family. So. We don't have to delay any longer. King Liku raised the long sword in his hand. His voice was a little hoarse. This Lord Rodan, who has never met before, has created such a good opportunity, then we must seize it. Under. A group of soldiers held their weapons tremblingly. The crowd is excited. Rebecca and the one-legged toy Cyrus are also here. The whole of Tokushima. No one is more excited than them. Heights. On the flying boat. Rodan sat in the bow and bit into an apple. His side. Only Mihoko stood upright, and below. It's a chaotic crowd. And bursts of extremely destructive fluctuations. Soon. A 100-meter high rock giant stood up. Punch down. Yang picked up dust and stones. But soon. In the very center of the rock giant, a ball of blood burst out. The body collapsed. Rodan's heartnet. Senior cadres of the Don Quixote family, the number of casualties is increasing rapidly. Come yet. The voice just fell. Teams of toy soldiers joined in. Behind. It was a generous man with a snotty nose, and a short figure hiding in the dark. Exactly Torabole and granulated sugar. See Rodan here. Point to the next point. The blue arc twisted and pierced towards the figure of Granos. Torabole seemed to have noticed something. He quickly secreted a thick substance, blocking in front of Granu. Sticky shield. For a while. The electric current explodes at a high speed. But it was kept out by the viscous shield. Yo, blocked? Rodan frowned slightly. Just when he was about to increase the current output, the weather suddenly stirred. Immediately afterwards, a blue flat crocodile's big mouth drilled out of the clouds. A wave of heat condensed to the limit, almost instantly. A giant pillar of flames several kilometers away quickly slid down the sky. Fall towards the flying boat. Mihoko moved. Pulling out the long knife, he chopped up a huge white wave. Boom. The heat wave broke in two. Wiped the airship and shoot down towards Tokushima. Boom. A range of hundreds of meters was covered by flames. Houses and streets, they were all burnt to a charcoal. Now. The whole island was attracted by the movement it produced. What happened? What is this, a dragon? The fleeing people were full of panic, if they know. This is the four emperors Kaido. Those who came here specially to help their king might be surprised. Merciful king. How could he have an affair with this super big pirate? Kaido, are you finally here? Is it the most powerful creature in the sea, land and air? It can be saved now. Is there a show? Hey, his bounty is as high as 4.6 billion berry. Rodan is only less than 3 billion, so it must be stable. The few senior cadres left cheered. Now the Rodan pirates. Just sending out a few women drove them to a dead end. The appearance of Kaido. There is no doubt that it brings great hope. As long as you are happy, let's guarantee your own life first. Swish swish swish. A stream of light flashed. All the bodies of these cadres were separated. Bucky's body combined and landed on the stone surface. Call. Her side. A light red cloak was skipped. Hey, where are you going, Sakaski? Destroy the four emperors. Although Sakaski spoke lightly, but in the eyes. The red flame gradually rose, above the sky. This long dragon with blue scales, a spin. It emerged from the clouds. Shrimp eyes, antlers, bull noses, eagle claws, fish scales. Under multiple combinations, it turned into this giant blue dragon with a length of hundreds of meters. This. It is the green dragon form of the fish fruit of the phantom beast. Known as undead creatures, Kaido of the beasts. Doflamingo, you are too weak, a white practice. Squirted from his nasal cavity. It turned into a super cyclone, dispelling the surrounding clouds and mist. People from Tokushima. Feel the coercion from above. Those with poor tolerance directly knelt and sat down. And Liku Wangjun, who was carrying a weapon. Also feel uneasy from the bottom of my heart. Why? Why are the four emperors coming? Damn it, it actually happened like this. Somewhere in the highlands. Brother Ming sensed the color of knowledge, and gradually weakened with familiar breaths. His eyes became more and more depressed. The reason why the string puppet that has been controlled all the time dare not show its real body. It's because of the appearance, will die soon. He had seen the strength of the crew of Rodin's regiment. That kind of power, it's not like he can match it at all. Only Kaido, an undead monster, can compete with them. And this opportunity, already waiting, only. This guy Kaido, there is only one person here? Brother Ming clenched his fists. The cool pink sunglasses flashed a bright light. At this time, his right hand hardened quickly, and he pulled hard towards his side. Boom. The airwave exploded. 2 pink cloaks were hunting. Dover held his trembling hand and laughed lightly. You're the only one left. Above, the rolling sound waves burst out. Rodan kid, your path stops here. Kaido's body lowered a few points. Then he opened his mouth again. Bad wind. Say it. The sharp and fierce giant blades rotated one after another, forming a half-moon shape on both sides. Crazy lacing down. But, just finished spraying when he opened his mouth. A giant fist of magma several meters wide roared and stuck to his dragon area. Boom. A click sounded. Splash of red paste. Kaido's body fell to the island. The bad wind was also wiped out by Mihuke. Among the ruins, it's Kaido in his dragon form. I saw his crocodile mouth squirm slightly, body shape and limbs. It quickly shrank and turned into a human form, and slowly lifted that huge body. His gaze is aggressive, and the height of 7 meters 1. Let him still look down on all the creatures around him. Who? Helped Laozi sober up. Kaido's pupils moved slightly. Finally, he locked onto Qianying walking in front of him. At the same time, Mihoko jumped down from the air with a knife. Clenched hands. Before the sword was drawn, a sharp aura swept over the surrounding area. Even Kaido himself, he also frowned and looked up into the sky. But, at this moment, call, the wind. Accompanied by the sound of burning fire. I saw a half-moon-shaped fire whip, quickly attacking from the side of Mihoko. Boom. Mihoke turned around. Destroyed this fire whip. I can't let you interrupt the big brother's battle. A soft tone. A black shadow wrapped in armor flew over the back of his head. Surrounded by thick flames, it looks very handsome. Pilbow Emperor. I saw him wave his wings. It quickly turned into a pitch-black pterosaur, and then came at an extremely fast speed. Fire embers? Mihoke's eagle eyes flashed, and then he stepped into the air. Between haste, he confronted him with a white sword day. Bang. There was a flash of light. The two were separated at the touch of a finger. Vigorous fluctuations also spread out from this. On the flying boat, Rodan looked away. Now. Around Tokushima. A large pirate ship belonging to the Banner of Beasts came. Center Fleet. It is a man with huge ivory and 2 lovely yellow braids. There is still one. It was a fat man with sunglasses and purple lips. He has a microphone and a speaker. She is dancing in a dance that makes people feel and her figure don't quite match. It's so inconsistent, that it made all the younger brothers around him boil over. As if with a buff, after the boat approaches the island. The two are in front of each other. They jumped onto the beach of Tokushima respectively, and directly showed their weapons. Without hesitation, he raised his arms and rushed towards the center of the city. Followed by. There are also a bunch of crazy real fighters in fur coats and holding sharp knives. Their arrival. Let the intensity of Dressrosa's fierce battle rise to another level. Support? Are you here in time? With a cold snort. Blue light emerges in the sky. Yao Lei, carrying the endless power of nature, he slashed down. Thunder penalty. The voice fell. There was a terrible thunderclap. The real fighters who had just got off the beast ship let out a breath of black air, and all fell to the ground. Can still stand in place. Only 2 disasters remain. And a few real fights with the zone form turned on. Barely resisted the blow. The guy who got in the way. Quinn held a Gatling, aimed at the ark and started shooting wildly. Chug chug. The fire snake flew down. It is accompanied by countless shell casings peeling off. A circle of lightning nets emerged on the outer layer of the ark. It easily caught the special bullet fired by Quinn. Played for a long time. All of them were frozen in the grid, unable to move or move. Your opponent is not a ship, big fat man, torn apart. Baji laughed loudly. Boom. The beach where Quinn and Jack were standing suddenly split into dozens of pieces. It was as if a major earthquake had occurred. Make people have nowhere to stand. Fruit ability? Jack's voice. It looked a little dull through the iron mask. The body cannot be stabilized. Just don't stand still. Holding 2 long sickle-shaped weapons, he flew into the sky with a single leap. Slash down in a certain direction, Clang. There was a golden sound. The dense old tree where Baki stood was turned into dust. The figure also flew upside down. Jack sneered, just about to take advantage of the victory to pursue. The smile froze on his face. I saw that his shuttle knife was broken inch by inch. Not only that, even his clothes were torn apart. He stood on the grass. It looks like a muscular body. Exactly. A group of refugees passed by here, and their footsteps showed a look of panic. Pervert. There are perverts here, run. It's disgusting. How can there be such a disgusting creature? Terrifying elephant trunk. Wife, why are you in a daze? Hurry up and go. Uproar. For a while, it rang all over the giant trees on the bank. Jack clamped his legs, hastily picked a leaf and tied it below. Then he let go of his legs and swaggered up. His face was dark and gloomy. How dare you laugh at lousy, die. A roar. Jack turned into a giant mammoth tens of meters long. Step on your legs. A burst of cracks spread to the fleeing crowd. Immediately afterwards, it was the rough elephant trunk that greeted them. Boom. The crowd was broken up. Jack's eyes suddenly shrank, and the ivories swung his proboscis. Hit behind. Sizzling. The hurricane overwhelmed the jungle. A piece of blood was spilled. Jack's elephant's trunk hurt, and he quickly retracted it. And Bucky. Impressively above his head. To fight with me, you must plan to have no weapons. At this time, not far from Quinn, just as he was about to help his younger brother, he was stopped by a petite woman with a cigar in her mouth. But this petite, it's the size of Quinn. Backquote, little girl, are you trying to stop me? Quinn bowed slightly. He took out the cigarette in his mouth and squinted his eyes into peas. I looked up and down, slender white legs. Soft beauty. She looks like she should be a gentle girl. But his attitude was extremely arrogant. It doesn't have a flavor. Are you part of the Rodan pirates too? Quinn flicked the long whip on the back of his head, put his foot on the boulder, and smiled. With your hot body, come to Wano-kuni to be a geisha. It must be very suitable, ha ha ha. Let my old lady be your grandma. Crocodile took a puff on his cigar. A hook with both hands. 2 water whirlpools jumped up from the river on the bank. It turned into 2 ferocious water dragons with big mouths, spinning towards Quinn. Manipulating water? Because of the heart. High water. It is a checkpoint that those with abilities cannot escape. Can control water. His heart became even hotter, talent. Still a woman. Although I think so in my mind. But his movements are not slow at all. Directly danced his huge body to dodge, and his body swelled. Transformed into a huge yellow brachiosaurus form. Take it seriously. Little beauty, don't die. Talking. He swung his huge tail violently. It hit Crocodile with a sweeping momentum, shipping at the center. When Kaido picked up the mace and wanted to quickly deal with the woman in front of him, his eyes trembled suddenly. The terrifying power burst out involuntarily. You can be buried with him, at the same time. On the heights of the Broken King, Dover pierced Brother Ming's heart with one hand, and held it high above Zhengchun. Pursing her red lips, she grinned. It's really not easy. Ah ha ha. Brother Ming, who was lifted up, showed his last smile. Who would have thought? Will he be killed by himself? But he has another doubt. If you were me, why would you submit to others? This is him. Most incomprehensible. Even stronger than Kaido. It's just a partnership. The girly him is stronger, there is no reason to submit to others. Could it be? Is it a gender relationship? Want to know? Dover hooked his red lips. Brother Ming's gradually dilated pupils condensed slightly. Of course he wants to know, because. Dover moved closer. Brother Ming took a deep breath, forcing himself to hold on to the last sliver of clarity. After a while, until he swallowed his last breath, he didn't hear the answer. Went with regret. She. Dover threw him out and shook his hand in disgust. There's no need to tell you. With the death of Doflamingo, on the Ark, Rodan also withdrew his hand. Granulated sugar. It was also solved remotely by him at this moment. Below. Changes began to take place. Are you, father? What exactly is going on? It's all Doflamingo, so he did it. The toy dolls in all of Tokushima transformed into human bodies again, and they were liberated for a moment. The people of Ran Island. All the memories of relatives in my mind came back at once. Them. Surprisingly surrounded by an evil pirate, became the king of this country. After learning the truth, there were people crying bitterly on the spot. The other side. The progress of Li Kujun. It was getting smoother and smoother at first, but with the continuous looting and invasion of the 100 beasts, it made it impossible to stop for a moment. Now, Rodan stood up. After killing Doflamingo, the summoning time was successfully shortened to less than 3 days. Now to fix it. It's Kaido with one leg crossed. Below. On the heart of Sakaski's right hand. 3 ferocious beast heads slowly drilled out. They twist. As if to devour everything in the world. Rock prison. 3-headed dog. Talking. She pressed forward with one palm. It is a half-black 3-headed locust with billowing magma coming out from one end. Out of the palm. After stepping in the air. The body of the beast swelled suddenly, turning into a ferocious giant dog nearly 10 meters high. Shish. Sharp grinding sound. It seemed to be its beast's roar, which was so sharp that it made people's hearts tremble. Kaido looked downcast. Not only was it not frightened by the power and influence in it. Also hold the mace tightly. While running wildly, the wolf waved forward. Accompanied by Conqueror's haki winding. The mace dyed with purple light has the tyrannical power to break through everything. It hit the 3-headed dog. Thunder 8 trigrams. The roar burst. Puff. 3 heads burst. Turned into pure magma, swaying on Kaido's body. For a while. The sound of barbecue is endless. And the back half of the 3-headed dog has a complete body. Then waved his claws. Grabbed hard on Kaido's chest. Tear. There was a tearing sound. 3 bloodstains appeared on the chest. Kaido gritted his teeth, even he felt the pain. How many years? How could someone make him hurt again? But. That's it. Kaido flew close to Sakaski, enduring the burning sensation of the magma, and swung the mace again. Call. Sakaski's cloak surged down, quickly. Lava greeted him with a punch. Boom. Wind pressure everywhere. The magma fist fireworks are halfway through. Sakaski's body was thrown away, the last backflip landed smoothly. Under the confrontation of strength and haki. She seems to be slightly inferior. Die. Kaido didn't pause. One step. Hold the mace and attack again. Big wave white line. The words fell. Dozens of thick semi-purple long lines around the house. Gushes from the ground. Poke around Kaido. Go away, lousy. Kaido roared. A circle of white lines were smashed apart. Dover, who had just landed at speed, changed his expression. About to leave. Unexpectedly, Kaido locked the position first and appeared above her head. Hit it with a stick. If this is true, there is a high probability that he will be seriously injured by it. At this critical juncture, a long lightning dragon jumped onto Kaido's body from the side, making his movements stop. Rodan flashed to Dover's side. Added a transparent and silent state to it. Go and help Mother Crocodile, she can't deal with Yin alone. Talking. He turned into a god of thunder. With the fist wrapped in ultimate thunder and armored color, he punched Kaido in the abdomen. 200 million volts. Thor roars. Pause time. Lightning filled the field. Dover left here first, galloping towards the shore of Tokushima. Call. A circle of sound waves exploded. Kaido's huge body flew upside down, and finally smashed into a mountain. Him at the moment. His disheveled hair was in a state of embarrassment, and there was a scorched black mark on his abdomen. But still in good spirits, Kaido pulled slightly. Push your right leg. Launched like a cannonball. He laughed loudly on his mouth. Oh, lol, I didn't expect that the Shichibukai hunter who declared Yuenyang only had such a little power. It really disappoints me. Cough cough cough. He smiles. I don't know if it was because I was speaking too quickly. I couldn't help coughing. Your performance is not as easy as you say. Rodan's eyes flickered. It has to be resolved quickly. At present, they can be said to have faced a group of beasts, all advanced combat power. It can be said that it has really competed with the 4 Emperors group. Now, he who remained in Thor's state, even if it doesn't move. The physical strength consumed is extremely huge. And every hit. Needless to say the amount. It's still a quick fight. At this time, Sakaski also came up. Every step. The blazing on the body is even more intense. When they came to Rodan's side, they had already condensed to the apex. The two of them moved, he went up to meet him. And Kaido. In the process of landing, the metamorphosis has already occurred again. He directly opened the dragon form. Long horns, blue scale armor, sharp dragon claws. Add more explosive muscles at the end. Not only has its strength risen again, but its resilience and defense have also reached its peak. The trauma caused by the two of them just now. Closed in seconds. At this time, half-empty Kaido. Like a prehistoric behemoth. Spinning his own iron rod, he coiled the purple-black conquerors up again. Look from a distance. On its path. It was as if the air had been drawn by black and purple to create a long opening. And it's scary. Zhong Sanshi? Yin Naraku. for a while. Black, red, blue, three colors. It represents three elements at the same time, colliding together. Boom. Earth-shattering vibrations, emanating from the center of the three. 10 meters, 100 meters, 1,000 meters. The surrounding ground, houses, and even the sky, they were all torn apart, completely clean. So powerful. Even the people fighting fiercely on the coast of Tokushima can hear clearly. Brother, have you used that state? Yan Calamity Ember stared. I feel incredible. How long has it been since it started, and you have used all your strength? Is this the strength of the Rodan pirates? Mind yourself first. Mihoke swung his long knife down, bringing up a bunch of blood flowers. Jin flew upside down. But in the middle, he flapped his wings and forcibly stopped his body. On the chest, it was a bloodstain. It's really terrifyingly strong. He sighed from the bottom of his heart. Then the next second, the momentum suddenly rose. A woman who has fought against the world's greatest swordsman, let me see your full strength. Jin gathered all the flames from his whole body on the katana. When reaching a peak, slash out with all your strength. Guard the fire dragon emperor. The hot flame turned into a giant oriental dragon. It growled. In a hurry, he flew towards Mihoko's body. Satisfy you. Mihoko jumped up. Have to say. Flame Calamity Ember is the head of the three disasters of the 100 Beasts group. The man whose bounty is close to 1.4 billion berry has fully demonstrated his due strength. If it is her who has not been summoned, maybe it's going to be a tough fight. But now. Daylight. A soft tone fell. Mihoko jumped into the mouth of the fire dragon. When showing up again, the fire dragon was split into two halves. White Sword Day was drawn on Jin's samurai sword. Clang hum. The sound of the shock came out. The figures of the two also staggered. Jin, who was flying in midair with a knife in his hands, had a mask on his face. Armor on the body. All shattered a little bit. Tokushima Center. Now it has been destroyed in a bad way, and the sense of dilapidation makes it difficult to look directly at it. After Kaido made that move, and tirelessly came blow after blow, the move was full of bursting feeling. Thanks to Rodan and Sakazuki, if it is replaced by one person, that's another case. Far away. Rodan shook his numb hand, feeling that Thor's state was declining rapidly. The gap between him and the four emperors, either on Haki or physical strength and physical strength, there is still a distance. But think about it too. From Barati can't Haki, now he can compete with four emperors. It didn't take long at all. The speed of progress is fast enough. Spread out. No one believed it at all, but he is not satisfied yet. Who wants to be a guy who only eats soft meals from the female crew around him? Give it all. Rodan held out a hand. A golden long spear galloped forward. Then he gathered all the thunderbolts and Haki all over his body and poured them into his body. This. It will be his strongest blow. 250 million volts golden thunder tiger. Say it. Jin Chang is wrapped in a strong force. Turning into a giant tiger with golden blue stripes, it grabbed the shadow of the beast galloping towards Kaido. Seeing this, Kaido kicked his right foot. The already shattered earth was hit hard again. King Kong Dysprosium, an incomparably turbulent, stick energy, hit straight out. At this time, Sakazuki appeared behind Kaido not far away. Dark Hound. As soon as the voice fell, her right fist, which turned into a dog, moved closer and away. This hit. It made Kaido's complexion change. After swinging the stick, he didn't care, and quickly pulled back to block. Boom. Both swipes cancel out. Each of them flew upside down tens of meters away. What Kaido didn't expect was that original front. In other words, King Kong Dysprosium did not counteract Shuankai's blow as he wished. This one flies upside down. Really like falling into the jaws of a tiger. Just let it be submerged in the giant thunder tiger. Subsequently, in the vagueness of the arc, the spear can be seen piercing Kaido's back. Mixed with destructive force, the whole body trembled with electricity. After about a few seconds, Kaido fell from the sky, smashing a huge hole. And Rodan was forced to release Thor's state after swinging this blow, and took a few steps back a little limply. Leave it to me next. Mihoko gently supported him. The beautiful and fragrant hair fell to Rodan's cheeks. See here. She gently pushed it away. He even stroked this handsome face, smiling like a flower. Man. Shouldn't have been on the battlefield. He rushed up again and again, for a while. Mihoko felt a little guilty. Guilt. I am not strong enough. Can't stop all this. Protect the captain in his robe. Thinking. She looked up and looked ahead. If you are not dead, Let me kill you with my own hands. And in the pit, Kaido spilled a trace of blood. Endure the pain. He pulled out the golden gun behind him and threw it aside casually. Want to get up again. But at this time, Sakazuki above the sky formed a giant magma mass in his hands. It was smashed down hard. Wherever the rock front goes, it is unrivaled. Full armor great eruption. This moment, Kaido's pupils shrank. It just felt like I was facing a volcanic eruption. And how powerful is the impact of the eruption of magma? Indescribable. Boom. Pause time. Take the center of the pothole where Kaido is. In an instant, it turned into a sea of lava, and all visible objects were melted away by it. Huge power and influence. It even swept across half of the island. And it's not over yet. After the mainland Kaido hit one by one, countless volcanic bombs burst out. Hit indiscriminately. Here we go. Most of them fell on the real hitmen who were robbing the treasure. See here. Even if incarnated in time into a man-made zone form. Flowering still smashed. This blow is too shocking. Why is the attack range so large? There are still people running out of the island. It was all through newspapers before, and I didn't have an intuitive understanding at all. Now I know it clearly. Simply not human. My home, Dressrosa is completely over. You guys are still in the mood to chat, run. Most people started running before Rodan came in. Most of them jumped to various ports and shores. Now the rest are those without boats, who jumped into the sea after seeing this frightening scene. Until now. The people also responded. Doflamingo is not trying to protect Tokushima. Rather, let them be buried with them, in the sea of rocks. Half of Sakazuki's body was covered in lava. The era of the four emperors, it's time to end. Ooh, it's not enough, you brats, with a wild laugh sounded. A half-burnt and half-blue dragon-scale hand crawled out of the pit. He had tried his own way of dying. Challenge the four emperors, challenge the naval headquarters, endure 1,000 tortures. No one has ever been able to kill him, even himself. Is also like this. This level of destructive power is indeed very strong. But he's not untouched. You guys, if you can't kill Lousy, get ready to be humiliated. How insulting. It depends on his mood. There was a loud bang. Kaido rushed out again. But this time he will face not only Sakazuki, but also Mihoko, who has just joined the battlefield. This battle. From Tokushima to another desert island, from the desert island to the sky. And the battle between the two regiments, it was also quickly spread by outsiders. Especially Marine. I got the news that night. Marineford. Inside the marshal's office. Sengoku, who was still hesitating at first, was deciding the time to execute Ace. Immediately made a decision. The day after tomorrow. Execution. Yo, Mr. Sengoku, have you really decided? Kizaru sitting on the couch. Slowly took a sip of tea. Rodan pirates, if you come to cross your legs, it will be difficult. Learn about that battle. After 5 women who look like 5 elders have appeared. But it scared him half to death. Just in case you jump out again. That's not easy to deal with. Certainly. There really is a second time. The government should and will not fail to respond. Rodan is fighting Kaido, and the fight could end at any moment. We must hurry. Crane crossed his arms and said, speaking of which. Regarding the special recruitment of Admiral in the World Conscription, I have picked 2 suitable candidates. If it is determined, it will be the 5 generals. The strength of Marine today. Because of the conscription in the past few days, it can be said that it has climbed to a peak again. 5 admirals. Let's just say that. Then add Sengoku and Garp. Combined, the headquarters is an absolute iron wall. However, the matter of execution involves a lot, and if it is not handled properly, it will be a disaster. Need to be treated with caution, and the outbreak of Rodan and Kaido. Judging from the information obtained, the 2 sides are fighting fiercely. Definitely not a joke. Thus, clearly an opportunity. Let's decide like this, we have to prepare immediately. What about Shichibukai? You can contact me immediately. Sengoku paused. Garp also needs to be notified. Ace. It has a lot to do with him, with the deployment started. Marine warships and marine elites from various branches began to be quickly dispatched to the headquarters. Day and night. Time is of the essence, Tokushima. They fought until dark. There is still no desire to stop fighting. Miscellaneous soldiers of the Beast's pirates. Did not run. Basically all dead. They can't intervene in this contest between the top powerhouses. Even if they stay on the same island, they will still be affected by the aftermath. It can be said that it is touching and dying. 2 pieces. The only ones who can stay on it and continue fighting are only 30% of the million regiments. And now there are 3 disasters. After being seriously injured by Mihuke earlier, Yan Calamity took advantage of the air superiority to start the fastest escape speed. It disappeared in a flash. After all, stay on. Mihoko will beat her until her own mother doesn't know her. Of course he won't stay stupid, besides. The elder brother has already explained it before coming here. If lost, just don't worry about him. Jin is naturally very reassuring about his elder brother Kaido. That suicide again and again. Even in the naval headquarters surrounded by admirals and marshals. Neither died. Certainly not killed by the Rodan pirates. So there it is. Now, in Greenbit. That is, an isolated island located in the north of Tokushima. The original beautiful scenery such as huge green vines, flower-colored mushrooms, and golden sandy beaches have long been shattered and disappeared. Instead, there are only black traces of ammunition and burning flames. The coast. Jack and Quinn were back to back, braid to braid. Blood flowed unstoppably from his forehead, and on the opposite side. It was Dover and others. Have to say, zone fruit ability users, especially the physical strength of the ancient species. It is really wearable. Even if several people join forces, they will be suppressed steadily. Didn't kill them all. Stiff until now. Second brother, the eldest brother has run away. Let's find a chance to withdraw as well. Jack the Drow, who was in a man-beast position, was panting heavily. Even against Marine. Never been so tiring. He promises. This is the toughest fight ever fought. Run, you idiot. Do you think you can still run away? You didn't even put down the birdcage without looking at him. It's obvious that you're not afraid of us running around. Quinn gritted his teeth and said, Dover's moves. He has a rough idea. It is the enhanced version of Doflamingo. Harder to deal with. Super whiplash. Dover appeared aloft. A long, red-hot whip was thrown downwards fiercely. Quinn saw this. Raising the mechanical arm of the right hand, a strong laser light was emitted. Black flame. Dover was submerged in it. But Quinn was not at all relaxed. He knows it's not that easy. As expected. On his other side, the dilapidated ground suddenly rolled, like thick ramen noodles. Under the jitter, it suddenly turned into a white matter spear and stabbed downward. Direction. It's Jack. Wild waves grabbed the line. Call out. Jack gritted his teeth, tensed his muscles and punched up. Puff. But this time, didn't get blown away. It's a detour. It pierced straight into his heart, and after a while of twisting, it quickly drilled towards Quinn. Jack. Quinn's heart trembled. Jack. Just die. A sense of anger came from the bottom of his heart. He wants to tear the woman in front of him to pieces. Quinn curled up his arms and kept hitting Baichin. Wind fist. Exploding Brachiosaurus fist. Circles of airwaves were generated in the air, and they were swung out with absolute power. At this time, a blue and beautiful mermaid rolled onto Quinn with a wave of seawater. Quinn couldn't care less. After the fist hit Dover's white line, his body touched the seawater. Gradually began to weaken, torn apart. And at this time, Baji's several slashes also landed straight down. Clang. Jin's figure appeared in front of Quinn. Cut across. Still. Daughter, you late? At the same time. A few more figures jumped on the island, and they were the 6 Lincoln who came to support them. But now there are only 5 sons. Not yet full. Wait, chat, are you bringing them here to seek death? Dover in the air grinned. Say it. Jack's body also slammed. Fell to the ground. Although the 3 disasters lost 1 member, they added reinforcements. The 2 sides temporarily formed a stalemate. Over time, it was unfavorable to Baji and the others. The appearance of Rodan. Let the battle begin to fall on one side.